regular meeting of December 4th. Please stand for a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Allen.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Darnall is absent with notice. De Palma.
Here.
Cordella.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Thurman.
Here. At this time, we need to approve our agenda. Are there any questions or concerns regarding the agenda tonight? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Cordella, seconded by clerk Allen to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. The agenda has been approved unanimously. Okay, so now we can move right into our awards. We have 2 appreciation awards tonight. The first award that I'd like to present is to Scott Lauder. And Scott was instrumental in helping us apprehend the gunman that was on the loose in the township. And he was very brave in helping to actually locate and call 911, have the police come and arrest him. And to that, we owe our greatest gratitude and appreciation. So, Scott, if you would like to come up.
Where?
Just here. So I'm going to present that to you. And it says, award in recognition of appreciation presented to Scott Laga for invaluable bravery and courage benefiting the citizens and community of the Charter Township of Brandon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott.
The next award I have is being presented.
You can do it. You can do it.
To Deputy Eric Overall. And everyone knows what happened. He was having a normal day at work until it just went terribly wrong. Was killed by a runaway motorist. And he was trying to save people that may have been down the road that could have been struck by this car, but instead this driver decided to turn into Deputy Overall. So we are very appreciative of what he has done for the community. And we are also presenting him for invaluable bravery and courage, benefiting the citizens and community of the Charter Township of Brandon. And his son, Kenny, is here to accept it for him. So Kenny, please come up. We're so appreciative of your father.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. It's an honor to be here, an honor to be in front of all you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for everything, guys. Everyone's been great.
Thank you so much. All right, next on our agenda, we have a presentation from the Brandon Middle School FTC Pineapple Warriors. So we have Piper, right? Piper's going to begin.
Hi, my name is Piper, and we are the Pineapple Warriors. This is everyone's first year with FTC, 6th grade through 8th grade. On our team, we have the builders, who are Madeline and David, Michael, and Tyler. Our programmers are Daniel, Ricky, and Andrew. Our drivers are Madeline, Piper, and our technical notebook is Taylor, Piper, and Jillian. We are the Pineapple Warriors. Hi, my name is Taylor, and today I'll be talking to you about fundraising and outreach. Outreach is really important in our community because it's important for people to know how important robotics is and how fun it is. Recently, we were in the homecoming parade and we represented the BMS Pineapple Warrior Middle School robotics team along with the Brandon High School robotics team, Trucktown Thunder. The Pineapple Warriors and our sister team, Brandon Tech, fundraised all of our required money, which is about $1,200 per team, by doing a bake sale at Beaky's, Cook's Farm Dairy Pumpkin Patch, and candy bar sales. We're really proud that we raised our own money because we think it's important that the kids should raise the money instead of asking it out of their parents' pocket. Hi, my name is Jillian, and I will be talking about the tech notebook. In the notebook, there is many chapters, and we have a table of contents for those chapters. There is important things in this notebook like fundraising, our challenges, the things that we messed up, and our ideas. Our technical notebook is made by me, Taylor, Jillian, and Piper. So the thing about the technical notebook is that we have to basically create an entire book in a span of about 4 months. And this is really hard because we have to document each event and each meeting we have, and we ask the builders, the programmers, and any other people like the coaches and the parents about what their ideas and thoughts are. We also document our fundraising opportunities, like at the bake sales and the candy bar sales and the Cook's Farm Dairy Pumpkin Patch.
Hello, my name is Michael. I'm in charge that my team follows the game manual rules. The game pit consists of 4 teams, 2 teams making a red alliance and the other 2 teams forming a blue alliance. The match is 2 minutes long with the first 30 seconds required as autonomous programming. 1.5 minutes being controlled by drivers using Android phone programs. Points are earned by knocking off the correct color jewel off the jewel stand using an optical color sensor, grabbing the glyphs from the pile and stacking them properly in the ladder, picking up the relic and placing it over the wall onto the map. Points are scored on how well we accomplish these tasks with our assigned alliance.
My name is Daniel, and I'm going to be talking to you about the overall programming strategy. So our programming strategy was to take the robot and drop this arm between 2 jewels. And those are just basically 2 wiffle balls that are like 4 inches in diameter. One's red, one's blue. So let's say we're like the blue team. We'll have it coded so that when it drops down, it'll sense the right jewel or color and move and knock off the right jewel. for the driver control mode, we're gonna have it pre-coded so that, like, let's say I'm the driver and I'm controlling how the robot moves. If I move the right joystick, the right side should move forward. And we're also gonna have it pre-coded, so let's say I'm in control of doing the picking up the glyphs. We'll have to have it so that, picking up the glyphs and raising the arm. We'll have to have it so that when one joystick is moved, one of those objects is moved. So let's say I move the right joystick forward. The mast is then going to go up. And I move the left joystick forward. That is going to cause the lift grabber to close.
Hello, my name is Andrew Hart, and I'm here to talk about the autonomous programming summary. For the autonomous programming, we first had to program the movements of the DC motor. We programmed the left front and left rear to go forward and the right front and right rear to go in reverse. This causes the robot to propel off of the platform and towards the destination it is supposed to. After that, we programmed the dual motor loop. We programmed the left motor to be powered when the left controller's Y button is pressed and the right motor to be powered when the right controller's Y button is pressed. Then, using similar methods, we programmed the arm of the robot to drop at an angle intending to knock down the jewels when it arrives at them. We programmed the robot to sense the colors red and blue so it can tell which jewel is which. Lastly, we programmed the jaws of life, which is the claw, to drop down and grab the glyphs in the relic. The autonomous period will take place in the first 30 seconds of the competition.
Hello, my name is Tyler Leshchuk, and my attachment is the jewel arm. The jewel arm is this little mechanism right here that goes up and down. It has a color sensor on it to sense the other team's jewel. So let's suppose we were the Blue Alliance. Our color sensor sees blue. Our robot would drive backwards and knock off the red jewel. The jewel arm components are the same as metal. It has the metal bar, the color sensor, and then the servo motor. That's what consists of it. The same thing would be applied if we were the Red Alliance.
My name is Ricky Campo, and I'm going to tell you how we designed the relic grabber. The clamps on the end are for squeezing in and out. One side goes in to hold tightly onto the relic, or bob, I should say. And so it holds on tightly so we don't have to worry about falling out, and it can move up so it doesn't bump into anything. And at the same time, I tried to find the person that made it in that particular way to see why they designed it in that way. And it seems like they were going for like a design for making building, going and helping building parts or washing windows or something like that.
Thank you. We are the Pineapple Warriors. Do you have any questions?
I have a question. What is the yellow figure on the table for?
Yellow figure is a relic. We don't currently have a relic grabber on, but we probably will if we go to states. But the relic grabber is supposed to be right here. It's supposed to come out, grab the relic, and there's 3 different boxes. What are they again? The relic box is
It's like 1 foot by 1 foot.
1 foot by 1 foot radius. If we did by chance get the relic up, and there's 3 1-foot cubes, 1 foot by 1 foot cubes. If we land it in the first cube, we get it whatever amount, 10 points. Land it into the second cube, we get
20 points.
Third cube,
40 points.
If we land it like this, we won't get any additional points. If we land it like this, we get 10 additional points.
Okay. All right, thank you. Did anyone else have a question?
I do. Do you know, Do any of you know, are there any YouTube videos of your competitions that we can see how this really works? Go ahead.
There might be in the future. Currently, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that someone might film it and post it on YouTube. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. There might be some from the past years. Again, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. So all I can give you is a best guess scenario. My best guess is someone probably filmed it and put it on YouTube.
I'd like to see it.
So you can't show us today, Daniel?
No, I can't show you today.
No, but we will video it and send you guys a copy of it.
Cool.
There are preliminary competitions that have already happened, and those are filmed, so we can actually forward you the preliminary competitions, which our team was not part of, and then our team is competing
Saturday.
This Saturday.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought maybe the competition. I know you don't want to give away any of your secrets before the competition. So.
Saturdays are
because some
Okay.
people might watch our township meeting to get your secrets.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, did anyone else have a question for Piper?
Good luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good luck. Thank you very much.
Yeah. We have some pins with our team name and logo on them that I'm going to pass out.
That's so nice.
Just so you know, I'm very impressed and I'm feeling very inadequate right now.
Thank you.
I don't have a clue what you said half the
Thank you
time.
very
Thank you.
Sounds like you all
Thank you, Piper.
definitely know what you're doing, and I think you guys are going to be very
Thank
successful.
you, Piper. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kudos to all of you.
Very nice.
Thank you for coming this evening.
I would just like to thank the board for letting us present. We do have our big competition on Saturday, and a big part of it is making a presentation, and it's very hard, and it's so wonderful that you allow them time to practice.
Patty, if you would like to go to the podium, then every people out in TV land can hear you.
All right, I would like to thank the board for allowing the Pineapple Warriors to practice their presentation. It is really hard for everyone to talk in front of people, and the more you practice, the better you get at it. And they've been working so hard, and Saturday is our all-day competition from 7 in the morning till 9 p.m. at night. So go Pineapple Warriors, and thank you very much for allowing us to present.
Where's the competition going to be
Oxford
at?
High School. We're going Oxford High School. Yes, it is.
Nice.
Do you know what time? Do you know what time you guys go at?
No, we really don't know the schedule till we get there. I know the presentations are going to start at 7:30 in the morning. Yeah.
Patty, I've been to a number of the other competitions. Don't they do it in rounds where you'll compete multiple times during the day?
Yes, at least 5 times
Right.
we have a one, and then it goes into the finals. And depending on where you stand, you're either done or
Right.
you continue on. This is the first time any of us are doing FTC. We've done FLL for 3 years, so it's a whole new ball game for us. So they got 2 years till they hit the high school team. So this is like the middle level, so it's very exciting, and it's a lot harder. I will say that. No, but it's fun, right? Yay!
What does FTC stand for?
First Tech Challenge.
First Tech Challenge.
Yeah, and FLL was First Lego League, and FTC is, excuse me? FRC. FRC is First Robotics. So,
Nice.
yeah, and we're very strong in robotics here in Brandon. In Michigan, we are the strongest area in the world for robotics. You know, I think it started a lot with the car companies donating and being involved with the kids to start it up. So we should be all very proud of the robotics in Brandon.
Very cool.
Very good.
Right, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Great job.
Good job, Scott.
Bust units.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Come up and shake our hands. Thank you. I gave you a hug at least that night.
Thank you so much.
The other day, I stopped in front of your house. You're out here. I didn't stop, and I thought, oh, I better not stop because you might think I'm like the news or something. Good job.
Yes.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Our public hearing on our 2018 proposed budget. So if there's anyone wanting to speak just to that, we will be opening up the hearing, asking for people to speak, and then closing the hearing. So, and that would just be only for the 2018 proposed budget. So would someone like to make a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Who would like to second?
I'll second it.
All right, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, seconded by Trustee DePalma, to open the public hearing for the 2018 proposed budget. And we'll need a roll call, please.
Marshall?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice. DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So now the public hearing is open for the 2018 proposed budget. Is there anyone that would like to speak to that topic? Now is your opportunity to come up to the podium. And I don't think anyone wants to speak. All right, I don't see anyone rushing up to the podium, so I believe no one's here to speak to that. So at this time, we will go ahead and close our public hearing. So I need someone to make a motion to do that.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Trustee Marshall, seconded by Trustee Cordella, to close the public hearing for the 2018 proposed budget. And we'll do another roll call, please.
Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice. DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. So we can move right into our reports. Tonight we have a treasury report, a general ledger report, a designated report, a reconciliation report, a building department report showing that we had 50 new builds, new housing starts, I should say, this year as of October compared to 40 last year. And we have a recreation report, Edna Burton Senior Center report, a CDBG report, and that leads us to trustees' reports, and we'll start down with Trustee Cordella for trustee reports. Any planning commission meetings?
No, we haven't had a planning commission meeting in months, so there's nothing to report on that. I just would like to say, I think the community did great honor to Officer overall and to the overall police and fire and first responders, and I'd like to thank them for that. And once again, you know, it's a great job. So I thank you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Marshall?
Yeah, every meeting, I basically say the same thing, and that is that no matter the size of the community, no matter the location of the community, public safety personnel are always putting their safety on the line to ensure that we stay safe in our homes. Thanksgiving morning was a prime example of that when Deputy Overall lost his life. In a performance of his duty. Attacks and injuries on public safety personnel is an attack on our society, and it diminishes all of us when it happens. My deepest sympathies go out to the Sheriff's Department for losing such an outstanding officer, to the family. And the second part of what I want to say is I don't think I've ever been so proud of a community that I've lived in as I was the Sunday of the candlelight prayer vigil. Overwhelming support was shown for the public safety personnel and for Deputy Overall, and they really went above and beyond acknowledging and honoring Deputy Overall and his 22 years of service to our community. I know that Courtney was a part of it. I know Dana was a part of it. Thank you very much for putting it together. Again, Lieutenant, I've said this last couple times, anything that I can do to assist, please don't hesitate to approach me and ask me. I will do anything to help support public safety.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Trustee DePalma.
Well, let's start with business first. Retirement Oversight Committee, we haven't met this past month. I did get the email from you, though, regarding the state's going to be looking into more on the OPEB and the pensions, and so I know we're going to be discussing that when the state finalizes it and takes their action. But that's kind of on hold now and probably won't pick up back until after the holidays. I first want to, we'll start in order of the terrible events that have happened here lately. So I want to, again, personally thank Scott Laga for helping the all the police officers who were here, all the people who were called in. So I greatly appreciate everything that our substation did for us that day and all the people that they pulled in to help. And then on the eve of Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving morning, I guess it was all Thanksgiving morning with the time, but Deputy Overall, and you'll be missed, and I appreciate everything that he did for us, and my thoughts and prayers definitely go out to all of our first responders, and if the department needs anything, Lieutenant Glover, please let me know. I'm here if you guys just need anything, and thank you, though, for all you guys do. I really appreciate your whole department and our fire department. I know they were there helping, too.
All right, that's all I got. Thank you. Scott?
Greg, I'd like to thank you, Lieutenant Glover, and your crew, and Dave and his crew, both you guys. Thank you very much. Attended the Christmas in the Village, and it was very good. And it seemed, as a bystander, it seemed to go off without a hitch. So either some people have been doing it a long time and really know what they're doing, or somebody is really working hard. I'm sure it's both. So thanks to everybody that put that together.
Yes, thank you for that, too.
Thank you. Okay, the treasurer is absent tonight, so we'll go to the clerk's report.
I'd like to welcome everybody tonight that attended, and we'll start with business too. Election day went very well with the new equipment. I only had a couple little baby glitches, and next Friday, a week from this Friday, I will be audited by Oakland County, or I'm sorry, the state of Michigan, on how we worked with the new equipment and how everything went. So I'm kind of excited. The Christmas parade was a hit, and Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus were very happy to see all of our children, and they plan to come back next year.
They were really good. I thought it was him.
What do you mean thought it was him?
Santa Claus. I saw him. The clerk's office is going to a meeting on Wednesday for Oakland County Clerks Association, last one for the year. Volunteers are needed for the OSEF food packing party, which is Sunday, December 10th from 12:45 till about 2-ish. Depends on how many volunteers show up. But our community has about 170 families that need help every single week to get food to feed their families. I did participate in the Thanksgiving packing, and it was just phenomenal how many people came out. Kids, old people, everybody in between.
Where's that at?
At St. Anne's Church.
At St. Anne's?
Yep.
And that's at 12:45?
Yes. They do a 15-minute training, and that starts right at 1 o'clock, and they're
okay.
normally not done till 3, but we had so many people that we were out of there by 2, so it was really nice.
So that's this Sunday?
Yeah, no, yes, this Sunday, the 10th.
So the 10th, right?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Hard to believe we're already in December. Lastly, I want to shout out prayers to everybody. Deputy Overall's family and his Oakland County Sheriff family as well. He's truly going to be missed, and I think we're all going to remember him. So it was great to have that parade. After 2 bad weeks, we had a good week. Seeing everybody that came out for the parade was just a true blessing to me. So that's it for me. Merry Christmas and a happy, safe New Year.
Thank you, Candy. I'm going to start with the hard one first. I'd like to thank the community for all they've done for the Sheriff's Department. First, when we had the gunman on the loose and all of the backup help in town, we had Jason Galt open up the Masonic Hall for all of the help that came into town. And he and Papa Bella's provided pizza. Other residents brought chili and other food. The Oakland County Sheriff's Office wanted to express their thanks to the community for all they did during that time. And luckily, and with all of their help and the help of Scott Laga, the gunman was apprehended, so it was a good result. And then next, when Deputy Overall was killed, the community rallied together to show how much we cared. Dana and Courtney, they organized a wonderful candlelight vigil. The blue ribbons and tributes on signs, donations, and the wreaths were distributed around town. And it was all to express how this community felt, and with a resounding appreciation of their first responders, the police, fire, everyone. Donations to Deputy Overall's family have been collected and given by individuals and businesses. The compassion has been overwhelming, and I am honored to be part of this wonderful community. So again, thank you everyone for your participation, and thank you to the Sheriff's Office and all of our first responders for putting their lives on the line every day. The village approved the joint Facebook page with us. So OTV is working on getting that going, and as soon as I've got the go-ahead, I'll share the Facebook page contact information and get that out to everybody. Also, we're working on email notifications for our website updates and to get the community more informed. I'd also like to thank the village for hosting Christmas in the Village and the Parks and Rec Department for the Christmas parade on Saturday. It was a good turnout and everybody seemed to have a good time. We extended our uniform video service local franchise agreements for another 10 years with AT&T and Charter. They are non-exclusive franchise agreements, so that means that anyone can really come into the township and provide video service for us, but in order for them to do that, they would have to put all their own wires throughout the township, so it wouldn't be that lucrative for them to do. So that's why it seems that we have kind of a monopoly going with Charter. Today we interviewed 4 candidates for the part-time building clerk position, and we may decide to hire someone as early as next week as a temporary employee. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. And finally, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and I hope everyone's holiday is safe and enjoyable. So that concludes the reports tonight. We have one item of correspondence, and that is a letter for the Village of Ortonville Master Plan from their engineers, McKenna and Associates. So that brings us to citizens' comments. And at this time, we will take citizens' comments on agenda items. So please limit your comment to 3 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to speak to? Yes, agenda item.
Hi, Heath Zeitz, South Hadley Road. My one question was regarding the Paint Creek drain. I seen some pictures and everything showing the logs laying across the rivers and whatnot. I'm just curious if that has any health impact Is that why they're proposing to do this? I also was wondering, it looks like they're proposing 2 different options. One was for like $90,000, and then the other one was like for $250,000. I'm just curious, what are the different benefits if you go one route versus the other? So that was it. So thank you.
Thank you, Heath. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on any of the agenda items?
Hi, Catherine Stewart. I also want to, my deepest sympathy to Oakland County and the sheriffs, and overall, being a liaison at our school. Many of us worked with him, knew him, and he is one of the great ones that will truly be missed. What I'm here to talk about also is the transient definition, correct? I currently live next to a home that was listed on Airbnb. I have lived in my home for almost 20 years, and it is a home to us. It is not a business, it is a home. And we, last summer, had approximately 14 within about a 2-month period of people coming and going, and it wasn't home or a neighborhood anymore. So I am in favor of lengthening the transient so that we could keep our home a home. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item?
Hi, Angela Swain. The agenda item I would like to speak to you about is also the definition of transient. And I also live in a neighborhood where the home was listed on Airbnb. I have 2 small children, and I've lived in my home for 13 years. It is on a dead-end dirt road in a small community. We chose it on purpose. And so to have strangers constantly coming in next door, people you don't know, was a little disconcerting, something that we did not plan, when we bought our home. And like Catherine said, it is our home. We know our neighbors. We love our neighborhood. So just lengthening the definition of transient, I am in favor of that and just wanted to voice my concern. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment on agenda items? Okay, everyone's being quiet. Okay, so we'll move on. We have no discussion items tonight, so we will move right on to our consent agenda. And on our consent agenda, we have regular meeting minutes of November 6th, 2017, special meeting minutes of November 13th, 2017, special meeting minutes of November 16th, 2017, special meeting minutes of November 21st, 2017. CDBG conflict of interest certification, regular bills in the amount of $17,489.77, prepays in the amount of $198,773.98, Township benefits from payroll account of $27,627.58. Trustee timesheets in the amount of $1,358. Okay, any concerns on the consent agenda this evening? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion as presented.
Okay. Support. Is that you, Chris? Or was that Bob? I have a motion by Clerk Allen, seconded by Trustee Marshall, to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Broughton.
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice. DePalma.
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. So now we can move right into our new business. The first item on our new business is adoption of amendment to modify ordinance section 46.6 definitions to include transient. I know that when we introduced this item, it was approved, but then for tonight, it was requested that Dana be present, and I know that our treasurer is absent, and I'm wondering if we should probably postpone this till our treasurer is here to vote on it.
I agree with that, but can we at least get a little bit of discussion in before we because I think some people are misinformed, if you will. I don't want to say misled, but misinformed.
Yeah, I think there's still actually some questions I need answered.
Transient has nothing, I know it was presented this way, but after emails with Bill Denon, our building director, and looking at our code, transient has nothing to do with Airbnb, unless we're going to add that term to our rental section of our code. Right now, we can go ahead and add transient.
We
but
don't have a rental section in our
but
code.
but wherever this is going to be proposed to actually control Airbnb, it's not going to have an effect on that one way or another. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand.
But it does have an effect
How?
because we have the word transient in our code and we don't allow transient, but we don't have a definition. All we're trying to do is define how many days is transient. What does transient mean? It's not whether it's in our code for this or that reason. It's just to define what the word means. That's all we're trying to address.
Okay. Yes, we should wait for Terry. I'm still not.
Are you
more
making
confused.
a motion to
Yeah,
postpone?
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Can we have,
Are you seconding the motion?
I'll second it because I was the one that requested to wait for it to be a full board. So I will second that we postpone it, but I'd still like to have a little discussion because I'd like to get out there what my concern is about it. So that way then maybe Bill can get us answers for when it does come back.
Well, I think that's a great idea, but I think Bill, we just had it brought before.
I know, and I've asked that question. It still hasn't gotten to me, and I'd like the whole board to understand what my question is. So I'd like to be able to discuss that before we take our vote, since that's when we have discussion.
Sure. No,
Okay.
Your question should be answered,
And
but
it's not.
But could you email it to Bill so that he knows exactly what your question is?
I can
mean-
email it to him, but I want to discuss it tonight. I want to make sure.
Okay.
Kathy, what drives me to sometimes I wait for meetings because, so I ask my question to Bill, Bill gets me an answer. Nobody else on the board knows because we can't email all of us at the same time because of the, because the Open Meetings Act. So that's where I feel we need to discuss it here so everybody knows what's going on. If I just ask Bill, I didn't know Scott had a conversation with Bill, so I don't know what his answers are. Because he can't share it with the whole board because then it's the Opens Meeting Act. So that's where I want to discuss my questions and my concerns so everybody's questions and concerns come out. Because my question or concern could bring Bob to have a question or concern, and Scott's questions or concerns could bring me to have a question or concern. That's what we're supposed to have meetings for, is for us to discuss, not just for me to email Bill.
Can I
Okay.
ask
I'm
what the
just saying.
motion is that Scott made, though?
The motion
recording secretary.
is to postpone this item to our January meeting?
Yes. And then everything that Dana just said.
Verbatim.
No, don't try to do that.
Is it
I
going to
don't
be
think I
to
can
the
do that.
January?
Yes.
Hopefully, we're all
And actually,
here.
it's going to help because
All right.
I know which way Terry was going to vote, so it's actually going to help you to postpone it. So.
Well, I have to ask, I have to honor the same respect that I was given to postpone it, so.
So what's your question, Dana?
My question is when I read the codes, in the section, it talks about campgrounds are for transient use only, which means then if someone wants to go to Clearwater and stay there their whole summer in their camper, I'm not talking about the homes that are there, I'm talking about their camper. There could be someone who is literally a resident of Florida who wants to, they're a resident of Florida, they spend their winters down there because they're don't like our snow. They come up here, they want to stay in their camper for 2 months because their grandkids are here. Now they can't because the campground states that it's for transient use only. If we define transient as 30 days, then someone cannot stay for longer than 30 days at Clearwater. I don't mind trying to define transient, but you have to look at all the sections that it's going to affect and who it's going to affect. And that has never been addressed with me, and I have a problem with that for that area, to do that for the campground, because that is their business. And I still have a problem with telling our homeowners what they can and can't do with renting their homes. I know that it is your home, and your neighbor might decide that they want to rent their home out, because some people are in the business of rentals. So maybe we need to look at doing a rental section like Scott mentioned. I don't know. All I know is that I'm concerned about Clearwater when we go to define that. And I've mentioned this a few times.
And we had Bill here at our last meeting. I thought he addressed.
He said that there is exceptions made for the people at Clearwater, but those are the only ones that come in and ask to stay outside of the time. But anything I see, there is no exceptions for people who go and stay in Clearwater in their campers, because the campers are only there in the summer. So I haven't seen anything from him. He said that they have an exception, but I haven't seen it. It's not in the ordinances. It's not anywhere.
From what I know about Clearwater, they have a consent agreement, or they have a site condo on the property where those homeowners are allowed to stay there for longer than a transient time.
Correct, but what about the campers?
The campers are like any campground in Michigan, where they are not allowed to stay there for any length of time. But I was told that they kind of get around that in not only that campground, but all other campgrounds, is they move them from one site to another within the campground after a certain length of time.
2 weeks.
So Kathy, how does this?
And I haven't seen anything from Bill, and I didn't know that's how that worked, but I know some people stay there for longer.
My question, when we bring this back, do you want Bill to be here in case there's any other questions that come up? And I thought that all the questions had been answered at our last meeting, so.
No, he just kind of said there's something, but nothing was shown to me to know that for sure. And I just thought he was talking about the site condos. I didn't know what they do with the campers, but I know people can
he
stay
should
there.
come. The answer is he should come back to
I guess
our next meeting.
for what I need, if he could just even send an email that maybe you can forward to or post, how does the word I'm not against the word transient, but I don't understand how it fixes this short-term Airbnb problem. It's because transient is only listed under issues to do with the camping, and then there's one reference to motors, and then it also shows up in another definition under family.
You have to look at non-transient.
I did.
Okay.
That's where the non-transient comes up, and I'm not sure how this fixes that, is my question.
It's my understanding that without having it defined, when he sends out a notice, he can't tell the people, you are staying in this property for less than a certain amount of time, which makes you a transient. And under our ordinance, it says that in the rural estates is a non-transient resident. Non-transient residential, I don't know the exact terminology.
That's what I'd like to show me where I'm not disputing, I just don't know where to find that. I haven't seen that yet.
And what happens if someone does have a rental home, not like an Airbnb, but where they rent their home out on a yearly basis? They hopefully have a long-term contract, because I know there's rental homes in the township. I know of one that was across the street. It wouldn't apply, but what if someone ends up with, they move in and then they move out because they got transferred again? Or you let someone move in and then you find out, oh, they're not the type of renter I want, and you kick them out less than a month. Now you're having transient issues at a rental home. How would they be excused from it because they realize the people they're renting to isn't paying their bill, or they are, doing something to the home? But I know there's plenty of rental homes here, and what happens to that if that becomes less than a month? You have all intention to have a long-term rental, but something cuts it short.
I'll have Bill come to our next meeting, and that way he can clarify all of your
But let's not surprise him
questions.
with these questions.
No.
Yeah, okay.
And what I'd ask is, I don't want to get something lost in the translation, so if you can email Bill, that would help even more. I mean,
Well,
I can speak to him,
I
but.
kind of did, but he, you know.
You still don't get your
he didn't-
answer.
He didn't answer it, you know. He just told me there's no rental section in our code, so he didn't understand my question well. I'm saying, my question to him is, how does the word transient in our definitions fix this Airbnb problem? I don't see that in our code anywhere.
I have a couple things. First, and I'll start most recent, go back. And we're talking about the park where they're getting around, they're circumventing the ordinance by saying, well, we're gonna move you from one part of the park to the other, therefore you're not in the same spot. I have a real problem with allowing gamemanship and circumventing ordinances. If it's an ordinance, it should be an ordinance, and we shouldn't be in a position where we're saying, well, we're gonna allow an exception to this because we're gonna play some games with the wording or moving people back and forth. If we're gonna have an ordinance, we need to have an ordinance. That just came up. So another thing that the last time we had a meeting, I remembered hearing people that are concerned about folks coming in, being boisterous, having parties, fire pits going on, and complaints from the neighbors. And I think a good way around this is targeting specifically the property owner. And I'm sure, and I wrote up, I think I sent, I'm not sure if it was to Scott or to Dana, I sent an idea for a ordinance, and it was basically a simple solution in our current existing ordinance about allowing property to be used in a disorderly fashion and holding the owner responsible for who he actually has in his homes. The other concern that I have is there's currently two bills in the legislation, House Bill 4503 and Senate Bill 329. Both of them mandate that the municipality treat a short-term rental as a residential and not a commercial use. I'm not sure how, and there's a good chance this is going to pass because it also, a law has also been passed where 6% tax on those is now brought to the state. So estimates for 2018, it's going to be $1.6 million to the state. Let's see, Traverse City, in just a 3-month period, brought in over $1 million in temporary transient rentals that is taxed to the state. So I'm a little concerned that we're going to do something, and then it's going to be turned right around, and the state law is going to say, well, you can't do that after all. So maybe we need to wait on this to see exactly what's going to happen with the House bill and the Senate bill, and see how that would impact anything we do.
And I had mentioned that last time when we met in October about those two bills, that, I'd like to see what the state does, but.
It just seems sort of, we're jumping the gun a little bit here if there's already things that might possibly take care of our problem happening at the state, what's going to allow or disallow whatever we do at this level.
Well, and I agreed, instead of having the campground, like you said, go from, okay, we'll move you from one spot to the other spot, well, then maybe we need to look at our ordinance and change and say campground doesn't fall under that, change something in campground. I don't want to affect
Right.
next summer for Clearwater's business.
Sure, but it makes no sense to have an ordinance and say, but we're going to play some gamemanship with it
Right.
and allow them to have exceptions if they.
So if we're going to define
Yeah.
transient to 30
Right.
days, then we need to look at our ordinance for the campground that's
Right.
here. Because I don't think that's fair to have them have to tell now their campers they can't stay more than
I
30
agree.
days if they want to stay 32 days or something.
My understanding is Clearwater has a license through the state of Michigan that there are people who stay year-round. They have to apply, there's a deadline to apply, and they don't leave the campground.
Yeah, I talked to Brenda about that. They do that every year. They have to
Yep.
apply every year.
Right,
It's not
but
that many people.
those are those site
That's to
condos
the
again.
Are you talking about the people that go to the ZBA to?
Yes.
Yes, those again are the site condos, but I'm talking about the people who actually stay in their campers.
I got a question here, looking at the motion here, I'm a little confused. I thought transient means occupancy of a dwelling unit or sleeping unit for not more than 30 days. I'm thinking that should read not less than 30 days. Isn't that what we're after?
Yeah, not in this case, Chris. It would be, the way it's written is correct. I know what you're getting at, but it's the way,
Right,
the
not
way the
more
word transient would then be used in the code. That's what they're trying to control there.
Okay, so we're saying that we don't want people to stay more than 30 days.
No.
Not less.
You have to read the code to put it into the code.
And it may end up going the other way where they use, a property cannot be used for transient purposes, I guess is the best way to, so you can't use it, you can't be renting it out for less than 30 days is what they're going for there.
Right. If
So
you read
it
the
has to
code.
be a non-transient property.
I understand your confusion.
You can't rent it out every week.
No, I understand your confusion. You need to open up the code and read the code and see where it's saying, okay, so then this means that a home is for non-transient, so a home or a family unit, dwelling unit is for non-transient use is the way the code reads. So now we're saying transient means 30 days. So that means a home, you have to stay at your home for more than 30 days to be considered non-transient. That's where I said a rental, if someone by chance has a person that they legitimately want to have a year contract with to rent their home, but something goes bad and it's done within the less than a month, then they're actually violating the ordinance.
I don't see that case as being a problem. By the time you get a renter out of a rental home, you're over a month.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Probably 3
yes,
months.
Yeah.
Probably not, probably, but still, I mean, you have to watch that, but.
I can tell you that, and I've had these conversations with Bill, it's more so about a house that is literally flopping residents like every weekend. It's to stop a home from becoming a motel, basically. However, some of what Mr. Marshall brought up is true also. I mean, there is a way of enforcing it. Unfortunately, we don't get many calls on these. I mean, usually it comes in as a loud party, and you can write the homeowner for a disorderly conduct ticket, as well as the person that's causing the problem, because the homeowner is actually responsible for what is going on their property. You can do that. Often, with what Bill Dennis is talking about, the homeowner isn't present if law enforcement's called. So that's where you kind of come into that gray area. But there was one residence that we've had problems in particular, or at least I know Bill has. However, we were never called as law enforcement that I'm aware of to ever deal with it. So, but I know that it's to stop a home from literally becoming a motel every other day of flopping people. It has nothing to do with somebody that's renting out their home for 30 days. And then also to clear up with Clearwater a little bit. Clearwater does have a couple of permanent residents, and I have never heard of Clearwater ever swapping campsites, every couple weeks. I mean, they have some exceptions because part of that is a campground, and they are a site condominium rules that affect them.
Right, but our ordinance reads that Clearwater is supposed to be for transient use. And then I know we have the exceptions for the site condos, but I'm talking about, the people who actually come in their campers and stay for the summer
We have had issues in some of our other communities. One community that I was at not too long ago, and it was for a group of people that are actually called gypsies. And they move into a couple homes that are rental homes, and they continually flop family members every week. And they come in, they cause all kinds of trouble in the community, and then they leave, and then another group comes in, and they keep leaving and coming back and forth through the state. We had that same issue a year ago, or a couple years ago, with some gypsies that moved into Clearwater. And we started ticketing them, and they left the community. But that's what that's what Mr. Denon's trying to keep from happening.
But you do have something you can ticket them with, and you could ticket the Airbnb. Because my concern too is the lake homes. How many of those do we have where people use them as rental homes because it's like the cottage?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that where our cottage is, there's rental homes on.
I can tell you, for as long as I've been out here, we have never had a complaint over one of the rental homes, one of the lake properties. It has specifically been a home that was flopping residents on a weekly basis. And I know from conversations that I've had with Bill Denon that, for one, there is not the personnel out here to deal with somebody that is flopping residents every 30 to 60 days or whatever it might be. And I know that what Bill Denon's trying to accomplish has nothing to do with somebody that is using their home as a rental property for more than 30 days. So that's just from conversations that I've had with.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Bratton, seconded by trustee DePalma to postpone this item to our January meeting. Is there any discussion on the proposal? Any further discussion or comments?
I'm a little worried that come January, we may not have a full board. It will get postponed again. I just think Bill's trying to get the definition into the code because it states that there is a definition, and he can't do anything about it until there is a definition stated. I think the Airbnb is something different that we could bring Bill in on. That's my feeling.
I think you'll be better off if we wait.
Did
That's
Terry
just my
ask us to
opinion.
wait? Because I know I requested to wait. Did Terry ask us to wait?
No, I haven't had any conversations with Terry, other than her being
If I don't get
absent.
clarification with Bill of how this helps this problem that we're hearing about, we'll be better off if I can get a clarification from Bill. I'm just telling you, that's what we should do.
Yeah, I would just soon have Bill at the meeting after listening to that there's more questions. I thought all the questions had been answered. Okay. And, all right, so the motion again is by trustee Bratton and seconded by trustee DePalma to postpone this item to our January meeting. So we'll go ahead and do a vote, please, or I can do all in favor. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
So the motion carries 5-1 to postpone this decision to our January meeting. Okay, so we will move on to our next item of business, and that is adoption of amendment to ordinance section 28-491, minor in possession. So we brought this to the board at our November meeting, and it's to approve a minor in possession ordinance for the township. So would someone like to make the motion as stated?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Yeah. Draw there.
All right, is there discussion on this item?
Nope.
Okay, I guess we discussed it at our last meeting. I have a motion by trustee DePalma, seconded by trustee Bratton, to adopt for second reading amendment and replace to the Code of Ordinances, Chapter 28, Article 8, Section 28-491, minor in possession, as attached into the Code of Ordinances, Charter Township of Brandon, Oakland County, Michigan. Okay. And since this is an ordinance, we will do a roll call, please.
DePalma,
Yes. Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice, Thurman.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. So that brings us up to our redistricting petition for Paint Creek Drain. Redistricting. So we have Jeff, is it Wilson?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner's Office.
Okay.
And, you know, in thinking about it, I think I'll just set up right here. 'Cause
That's
I've got
fine.
to talk in front of the podium, right?
Yep,
Okay,
that would be
I'll
good.
set up right here.
Okay.
The board. And it's too bad the robotics team didn't stick around because they'll go off to engineering school and in 15 years be standing in front of the Brandon Township Board again, talking stormwater. Everyone see this okay? Should I turn it a little bit? Okay. Yeah, so once again, I'm Jeff Wilson. I'm the drain maintenance engineer with Oakland County Water Resources Commissioner's Office. And we maintain the county drains within all of Oakland County and certainly within Brandon Township. And tonight we're going to discuss kind of a fine detail within the drain code. And so what I want to do is just quickly paint a picture for you guys of what the big picture looks like, and then we can discuss the detail on what exactly I'm asking you guys for on this one. And pardon me, I'm battling a bit of a cold right now, so I may take a few sips of water while I'm doing this, so bear with me here. So what this is, Brandon Township has several county drains. And what these are is the green lines represent water courses. These are streams, creeks, channels, mostly open channel. There are a few piped systems in there that handle stormwater. This is rainwater runoff. And these date back a very long time. The ones we're going to talk about were petitioned in 1905, 1907, and 1915, I believe. And so we're talking about very old infrastructure here. And these were developed to make the land more useful for development. There was a common problem. The common problem was water. And so they had to drain down the lands. And so they petitioned these drains, and in order to pay for them, they initiated assessment districts. And so we have, to this day, still the assessment districts for these drains. And it was based on water that runs to these drains, the properties benefited, pay for the drain. And they all pay a portion based on the amount of water that comes off of their land that we calculate based on the size of the parcel and then the makeup of the parcel, basically. So whether it's paved or not, or potentially gravel, it's the surface and the land area. And that determines your apportionment within a drainage district. Okay, so I'm throwing some terms around. I'm going to show you really quickly the drains that we're discussing. So within the southeast corner of the township, there is the Paint Creek Drain, the Cowden Drain, and the Big Meadows Drain. And here's a bit of a closer image to it. So to run you down, so you have this in your packet, and this is Oak Hill Road running here. This is Baldwin. So there's the township border, basically. And so what you're seeing, this red, is currently known as the Paint Creek Drain Drainage District. The blue is the drains, all three of them. There's also a green outline and then an orange outline. And those are the Big Meadows drains and the Cowden drains.
What's the northern road up top here, just so I can get a bearing on
This
it?
one is Oakwood.
It's Oakwood, okay, so
Yes.
I couldn't read it on the map, okay.
Yeah, this is Oakwood.
No, certainly, they're awfully small, so feel free to stop me with any questions on this if you need any clarification. And so what we have is a county drain established under the Michigan Drain Code. These go back 100 years. And once you set the assessment district, that is to actually construct it, so to pay for the construction of it, that then becomes the assessment district in the future to pay for maintenance costs. And so we perform maintenance on these. We clear blockages. We dig out end sections. We clean off bar screens. We jet out culverts. We potentially, when trees fall down and they're blocking the channel, we remove those. And then in order to pay for that, we assess the assessment district. And we are capped by the amount of $5,000 per mile of drain per year. So with the Paint Creek Drain, it's a 15-mile drain. That's based on the length of the channel. That means that we, in a single year, can assess to the whole district up to a maximum of $75,000. So that's $5,000 per mile, 15 miles. And so, with that money, that's when we perform the maintenance tasks that we have. Currently, within the funds of the three drains, we're basically at zero. We don't have money within those drains. But per our most recent inspection, we found that we have a whole lot of downed trees in these drains. We do inspections every 3 years, and in the most recent one, we had written up enough work orders where, based on our estimates, we think we have about $160,000 worth of tree removals that we've got to do in the drain. And so there was a question on that, whether or not it's a health concern. It is a threat to public health and property. It is, if you were asking about the wood itself, that's generally not, a threat to health. You can go near it and it's not, diseased or anything like that where it's going to affect humans. But just the water being blocked, we do consider to be a threat to public health, because now you're talking about backing up water and flood circumstances not working out as well as they should, where the water needs to drain away. And so what we have is $160,000 worth of down trees within the 3 channels. So that exceeds the maintenance budget that I had previously explained within the drains. So to begin with,
Can we ask you questions?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
We have all of these trees down in the last 3 years?
They've certainly shown up within the last 3 years. It was on the most recent
I'm just asking you a
inspection.
question. You said you inspected every 3 years.
Yeah, that's correct.
So then that has to be true then.
Yeah, well.
This has all happened in the last 3 years.
So
all those trees have.
So the inspection.
Fallen over and they're in the
Yeah, that's correct. This inspection was actually from 2016. And so we got it at the end of 16 is when we found that. So it would have gone back to 13 at that point. And a big thing that has happened over the last 10 years is the emerald ash borer. And so we're finding countywide that the most recent set of inspections, we've seen a huge uptick in the amount of down trees in the channel, because the emerald ash borer has been affecting a lot of trees and killing them off. And this kind of started about 8 to 10 years ago, and it takes some time for these things to fully die and fall over. But yes, the most recent set of inspections is where we really learned about these and determined kind of the price tag on this one and seeing just how much is in there. So we know that this much work needs to be done. The assessment districts are going to have to pay for the work to be done. But at this time, because we're exceeding the normal maintenance dollar amount, generally what we do, we consider that to be a project. So now you've gone beyond normal maintenance activity. The volume is so high that we're going to have to kind of take care of this as a project. When we do a project, that's a good time to update the drainage districts. These lines, they were set based on water that was draining into the drains, but they were set 100 years ago. And so we've made some great advancements in mapping and surveying and technology. We find it's best when you're going to go out for a big assessment like this, you want to update the district just so that you know who's paying this. You want to make sure that you know that you have everything down and that the people who are draining into it are paying and the people who aren't don't have to pay the bill. And so we go to update them. But this one also has a fairly unique challenge, these 3 drains. When they established them, they were not very well organized. In fact, some of them were established on top of other existing drains. So there's certain areas of the channel where you're actually in 2 drains. You could be walking through one drain, but it's legally part of 2 different drains, and therefore goes to the 2 different drainage districts. And so because of this unique challenge, you end up having residents in some of these lands here that are paying into 3 assessment districts. So when we assess, it ends up on their winter taxes. It's a line item on there. They'll see 3 different assessments potentially. And in order for us to do the work, we've obviously got to bill whichever account that we're going into. We don't know which one we're actually in sometimes because it could be 2. There's just enough overlap with these. And so you've got 2 things going on when you have, you've got a few different things going on when you got this assessment district overlap. You've got additional administrative costs, just trying to figure out where you are. You've got overlap in districts, so now people are getting more assessment bills. They're not just getting the 1, they'd be getting 3 potentially. You've got channel overlap, which I'd already explained, we don't necessarily know which one you're even legally in at that point. And so what we want to do is eliminate that. We want to combine them all because they're all generally the same level of importance. They're kind of taking down, they're all of similar characteristic and shape, and they generally traverse lands to kind of draw down multiple properties. We want to get rid of the 3 districts and combine all of these channels that you see into just one Paint Creek drainage district. And what we'll do with that is we will reduce kind of the administrative headache of having the multiple drains that you're traversing. we would reduce the overlap of the districts, and then we will get rid of the channel overlap, which actually the Attorney General did make a ruling that those are actually, you know, illegal. You know, depending on how exactly they're planning on enforcing that, we're not entirely sure. But they have ruled that no, you can't have the same body of water in two separate drains. So we want to get the channels cleaned out. We want to perform the maintenance. We also want to figure out what is the current district. And in doing all that, we think it makes the most sense to just combine the three districts into one. And what that will do then is just create a brand new assessment district and use that going forward to pay for the maintenance of the channel.
Can I ask you?
Yes, go ahead.
The assessment is based on water flow off of property, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So it's not based on a taxable value of our property assessor?
That's correct. Yeah, the way that the assessment is, you're basically given weight. Your property is given weight, I'll call it, based on the amount of water that's coming off the land, which is the land area times the runoff coefficient. And the runoff coefficient is based on the characteristics of the surface.
Second question. While this merging of the three may be good for some people, especially the guy that was on all three, for one person that's maybe off in the corner somewhere that was only on one, we're saying we're going to be upping their amount now. And without knowing exactly what these values are, you know, it's, you know, if it's $4 or $5, fine. But if we can't just send a bill that, hey, guess what? We merged them all. Now you owe us $500 more than you did before.
Mm-hmm.
I got a real problem with that.
So, all right, what I'll start off by saying that the Cowden and the Big Meadows drains are very short. So the Payne Creek is 15 miles of total length. The Cowden and the Big Meadows are actually 1 and 3 miles long total. And so those are limited at, the total assessment within that district would be $5,000. But they're very short segments of this. So in order for me to clean out some of these segments here, like I said, I would have a hard time identifying some of them as just being the Cowden. Most likely, they would just end up being the Paint Creek anyway. But because of their additional mileage, again, because of some of the overlap and because of how the law is written, where it actually, you know, you round up for any length of channel to get to a full mile, and that limits your assessment power. We're actually reducing the total amount of assessment power in this area by getting rid of the two additional drains. By combining into one drain, we are reducing the center line miles, so that would actually bring down the amount that we can assess.
Like I said, good for the guy that lives on all three, not good for the guy that lives on the edge.
Is it only bringing down the cost because you're spreading it out through the entire community instead of just those areas, just those pieces of property that are on the various districts, creek districts?
And when you say that bringing down the cost?
Well, because okay, so I'm along with Scott here. So if I understand this correctly, the multiple districts conceivably would reduce the cost because they're going to be down to one district because you want to make it one big district.
Yep.
Okay. So the people that are not on a district, they would actually increase their cost, right? Because now they're responsible for paying where they didn't have to pay before.
So I'll show you how that works actually on the map.
Okay, let me finish though.
Yeah, sure.
Before I lose my train of thought.
Yeah,
so
we need an answer to this. This is important.
So in the big scheme of things, it may be reducing for some, it may be increasing for others, but in the big scheme of things, when you say it reduces, it's only reducing because you're spreading it out over more people paying than you're currently having paid.
So potentially within those small districts, you're taking a cost from this and spreading it out over, so, all right.
Right.
We'll get that image right there, you can kind of see it. You're taking that here, spreading it over this.
Right.
So, you know, potentially whatever's happening in that, you know, let's say it's the 1 mile one, it's now getting spread to the 15 mile one. So if you had a cost in there that was much, you know, it was high, you're talking about, you know, all right, say they're all the equal cost. There's the same amount of trees down and all the parts of the channel, everything like that. You're talking about, you know, 1/15 of the length of all of this getting absorbed into that, which is now a 16-mile drain. Now, again, in order to sort out getting that mile out of there is going to be very intensive, because we're going to have to figure out what exactly that was, and there may actually be new administrative costs too in trying to separate, what channel is that actually? Because if they were both petitioned as a drain, you almost have to re-petition that other drain if you do want to try to keep them separated. I know we're getting kind of deep into the drain code now.
Let me rephrase it. Maybe I'm taking a different, more confusing avenue towards it than I need to. So if currently you're paying, or if you're currently getting funding for the drain districts from, say, let's make it easy, 10,000 people.
Okay.
Okay. And those 10,000 people are paying into the drains. So now you want to spread it out over the entire area and make it all one big district. So conceivably, you're sucking in 15,000, additional 5,000 people, where it was only 10,000 before.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say it's reducing, it's not necessarily reducing the cost, it's just spreading the cost out amongst everybody.
It is. That's one way of thinking about it. But, like I had said, because of it would reduce then our total amount to assess within that, the cap on that, and the amount that is increasing for the actual work that needs to be done. If it's the 1 mile section right there, and that's the 15-mile section that's absorbing it, potentially that's 1/15 of the cost now being spread out here. But
so you're just basically saying the same thing I just said. You're spreading it amongst a greater number of people.
Yeah, it sounded like you wanted kind of more of a number to go with that.
No, I was just trying to have it a little clearer in my mind as to what was actually happening as far as the reprogramming of your districts.
Yeah. Okay. No. So that certainly is a way to think about that. But again, because of the overlap on the channels, you're going to have a hard time starting off and sorting out what exactly that's actually supposed to go to when you're managing the districts themselves.
Sure, I understand that as far as managing the money, but I'm looking at the big picture of it, and that's where the money's coming from and how it's going to be affecting the residents.
Sure.
As to they're going to look at the bill and say, "Holy smokes!"
Well,
I caught myself.
Mm-hmm.
Holy smokes, that's really an increase, or geez, it really dropped down from what I was paying.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to get at. You're just spreading it out amongst more people. Some of those people are people that are not currently paying anything at all.
Well, they wouldn't be for that district. They would be within their own district.
Everybody is paying some. You're not expanding outside of what's already been districted to a drain, or are new people are some residents going to now have a drain?
So that's
that
it.
They didn't have
there
before?
is so part of this is the studying of the district. Like I said, these were laid out in 1905 to 1915. Mm-hmm. Part of it is going to be figuring out what lands are actually draining down there. We find that they tend to change by maybe 10%.
Because some people might get added to this district who have never been on a drain before.
That's correct. They'll get pulled in, and they'll get a letter, and it's going to say, all right, this is what's going to happen. Your property has shown up as being part of this drain. Your water flows down there, and this is set up to assess people who drain down to this.
And could they be on another drain already too? Because I know I'm not on any of those drains, but I know I'm on a drain. I just looked at my tax bill, and I'm like, oh yeah, I am on a drain. And I mean, could people who are pulled into this one be on another drain? So now you're again having two drains in one section?
So the nearest drains to this one are the Brandon-Oxford drain, which we've been doing this woody debris management on, but it's needed much less than the Paint Creek, and the Perry drain. And what we'll do from this, because we'll figure out the exact limits of kind of what goes down into the Paint Creek drain, we can then exempt those properties if there happens to be overlap and they're in a different drain. So we can take what we learn from updating this drain, and figure out, okay, no, they shouldn't be in the Brandon-Oxford because their property is actually draining this way into this drain.
So you're not gonna make them on two drains. You're trying to get people down to one drain, but you're not going to start then adding people to another drain and put them on two drains.
That's correct. Yeah, we're trying to make sure that we know where the water from those parcels are actually going. And if we do find overlap, then we'll take care of that in the adjacent districts.
And then the people who are on like the 1 mile drain, they've been, if you guys do this tree maintenance thing, the people on the 1 mile drain, if you leave them on the 1 mile drain instead of joining them with the 15 mile drain, their cost is going to go up because it's going to be a huge expense spread over less people. But then the people on the 15 mile drain, their cost is going to go up because now you're giving them more to it.
Well, actually, if you're in the overlapping districts, you're paying for everything on the Paint Creek drain, that red outline area, and then everything in your district. If you're not in the overlapping area, you're just paying for in the 15-mile drain.
Okay, so I'm a real money person. Do you have anything that shows me like what the cost is going to go from a resident who's on the 1 drain, what the cost is going to go from the resident on the 2 drain, and what the cost is going to go from the resident on the 3 drain? Do you have anything that shows us what, if we voted for this, what it would do to the residents?
No, I don't. I don't have those specific numbers for you where I can show you exactly the change from these districts. What we do have is kind of what the current assessments are within the packet. If you look at page 7,
Yes,
actually,
I
we'll
see
start at
that.
page 6. I put together a project estimate, basically, and this is for the drain maintenance and then the district consolidation and what kind of cost that we're looking at. So I put that number, $160,000. I said that earlier. That's for the actual removal of all those downed trees from the channel. And that is an as-bid service, and so that's something that is competitively bid to perform that service. But from there, you'll see the project development and district evaluation and consolidation. And basically the district evaluation by the consultant, that pretty much has to happen at this point because we have to figure out what these districts are and how they even work. So these are more or less built-in costs in order for us to figure out, how can we assess to remove those trees. Regardless of whether or not we combine this district, these items basically have to happen, number 2, within there. Number 4, construction support services, that's actually for performing all this work. So we got a total project value with a contingency in there of estimated at $262,790. So then we go to page 7.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
So let's say we say no to redistricting, because that's what you're coming to, is asking us if you can redistrict, or what are you coming to and asking us for? I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, I can get to that right now. What we're really asking you for is to sign a petition to initiate the process of combining the districts. So the petition just has to come from one of the townships that is within the drainage district, but what ends up happening is the commissioner then appoints a board. And then we send mailings to everybody in there. So you're not actually combining the district tonight.
Okay.
You are initiating a procedure. You're telling the commissioner that you would like to, yes, that's correct, the drain commissioner, Jim Nash, the water resources commissioner,
Okay.
that you would like to initiate the process to have a hearing to combine the districts. So then what we do is we appoint a 3-person board, a disinterested board of people not residents of the township or any of these townships, Independence, Orion, or Brandon Township, Oxford Township. And we'll appoint that board, and we will have a public hearing for this, and we'll send mailings to everybody that falls within any of these districts. And we will tell them, hey, we are looking to combine the drainage districts, and that is the time for public comment. And so you hold this meeting, and then from there, the drainage board, the board of determination, they decide whether or not this is in best interest. So that allows township officials from other townships to speak. It allows correspondence to be gathered. It allows residents to show up and voice their concerns. And so at that meeting, you would then tell them, and in the letters, you obviously tell them, hey, there's this work coming up, and so we're looking to assess, just so it's very clear what we're doing. But at that meeting, that's when we would discuss it and actually determine whether or not we're going to combine them.
Okay, so hold on. Sorry, just because so Have you gone to, so we're not the only township that this is affecting. You said Lake Orion, you said Oxford, Independence.
Orion, Oxford, Independence.
Have you asked any of them if they wanted to do this petition?
No, you make up 56%. Your residents make up 56% of the district. So we thought that really it's appropriate to come here first
Okay.
because you
I was
guys
just seeing
are.
if you asked them and if they said no.
No, certainly. So they do have the right to do this as well, but because
Okay.
you represent the most number of parcels within this district, it is appropriate to come to you guys first and give you the opportunity to petition us to do this.
Okay.
My problem with this is it's really hard for me to move forward on it if I don't know what it's going to cost our residents.
Okay.
That's.
So we can start with the estimate. If you'd like to go there, we can go to page 7. Yeah, sure.
This is what I was trying to get to. When is the last time we hit Brandon Township residents for a new bill of anywhere, as the top payer is going to be paying anywhere from $243 to $4,400? When's the last time we did that?
I'm not sure. It looks like it goes back a pretty good distance. I mean, my assessment records.
That's a big surprise for some people that I'm not real eager to be putting forward.
It is, and it would be something that would occur at the end of next year's tax bill. And so it would be, it'd be a year from now before they have that, but they would get written correspondence from us basically saying, here's what we're looking at. Now, I will point out
Is
that.
it a one-time payment, or are you talking every year their
No,
bill would go to $4,400?
that would be a one-time payment.
And what if we say no to
wasn't
redistrict?
done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, we got time.
Yeah, you know what? I think Bob had the first question, and maybe we need to finish the answer up to him and then come back.
No, I'll
Let's.
surrender the floor.
Thanks, Bob. People that bought houses that knew they were on this drain system is one thing, but you're talking about adding people possibly with fixed incomes that bought their house with no knowledge that they weren't going to be taxed under this drain system, and now you're proposing that we add them to this? That's, like I said, I'm not going to, if it's $5 or $6, it's not a big deal, but you've got some people on fixed income that you're going to all of a sudden, no, you owe us another $500 because surprise, we're putting you on the drain system.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Well-
going to be a tough sell.
Well, I will point this out. The
Incredibly tough.
we put in on page 7. We put in, so basically I took this red assessment district and I looked at their assessment roll, and I put in hypothetically what would happen if we ran a $262,000 assessment for a single year. And at the top there, those are what the at-larges pay, the townships themselves. So the townships do pay a certain amount of this out of their general funds. And then after that, I kind of summarize the parcels. So within this drainage district would be 1,890 parcels, this red district. And 1,256 of those would be within Brandon Township. So then these stats down here are, these stats on page 7 represent the Brandon Township parcels. So the average assessment per parcel for a $262,000 assessment, that's the bottom one in here, would be $72 per parcel. And then we get into kind of the larger parcels now. These are getting into the big ones. At 359, so the top 359 of that 1,256 parcels are now paying over over $100.
Will pay, not are paying, will pay.
Yes, I'm
don't
sorry.
know about the
Hypothetically, if we did this assessment, that's what they would be
I'm
paying.
confused. What do you mean by the top 359 parcels? What makes a parcel? Because that's where I'm really confused at reading this, because you got the Brandon Township average assessment per parcel is $72.08. But then the top 300 parcels are this, and the top 200 to 100 and top 100. What do you mean by top 359, top 200 to 100, and top 100? I don't understand.
I think they mean.
That is the largest, no, that's just the largest value of an assessment. And that value is based on the land area multiplied by the runoff coefficient, which is based on the surface of the parcel itself. So like if somebody owns a full section of the township, which I don't know if anybody has a full section.
Which should be how much?
That's a 1 mile by 1 mile. Yeah, so 1 square mile. They would be a very large parcel. They would be paying a lot. I will point out that $4,000 parcel, I'm not sure what exactly it is, but after that, it drops down. The next closest is 1,000, something like 1,300, I want to say. So it drops off of that. That 4,000 is kind of an outlier.
But we don't even know if we have anybody at that level, because you don't have That's where it would be good to see what in this drain section, in that section, what are our residents currently paying? You know, what's the low, what's the high?
Okay.
And what would it go to, the low and the high? So we can really see, because here I'm looking at someone's going from $72 to $4,000. That's a huge hit. My next question to you is because you're petitioning us first, and if we don't do this, then are you going to go to one of the other townships and ask them to do it, and then we'd be in it anyways?
Potentially.
Okay.
It's one of these things where we are recommending that, hey, this makes the most sense at this time.
Okay, and then my second question to that is if we don't do this, and none of the other townships do it either, are you still going to perform can you still perform this extra maintenance and put it on our residents then?
Yeah, we still have to perform the maintenance. So we still have to perform the maintenance.
That cost is going to get added no matter what to our residents?
And we're still going to update the district because we just think that it's the time to do it.
Can you, every year, I'm just trying to figure out how this portion of the tax bill works. So every year, you could do something in that district and assess it to our taxpayers without our approval. Is
We
that
can
correct?
assess it up to a certain amount. And so, I'm sorry, I know this relates all back, so hold your question if I'm cutting you off. But that same page 7, we put in what a normal maintenance assessment would be. I put $90,000. If you remember, I said 75 earlier. This $90,000 would be closer to the fully combined drain. But under $75,000, you know, it's pretty similar to that 90. You can see the values there. They're basically at, you know, 1/3 of that $262,000. So right now, within our current power, we have the ability to just to do this assessment within the single year for normal maintenance activities. The normal maintenance activities, you know, the tree clearing does fall into that. I shouldn't say tree clearing, it's actually woody debris management because we're not cutting down live trees. We're only removing ones that have fallen into the channel and getting them out. So this is within the normal maintenance and how we do it. The reason why we recommend doing this in 1 year is because we're actually building up the threat now of a liability here of water coming down and being in a flood condition and you know, all this wood is blocking it and now it's backing up onto people's property and now you're potentially dealing with claims on these things, you're potentially dealing with lawsuits, and those are against the drainage district. So, you know, if somebody wants to sue the drain, they're suing the drainage district, which is the parcels, essentially. So we're recommending that, hey, this really needs to be done. We think the easiest way to do this is by, you know, by doing the woody debris management project. But since we're doing that, we think not only does it make sense to update the district to make sure that the right people are paying into this, and it's not just, you know, people aren't just added. Lots of people are taken out too. You can see there's some subdivisions right on the edge there. When they build a subdivision, generally you regrade everything. So their water might be going out now, or the whole thing could be going in. But we just want to make sure that we're capturing all the right people when we do this. So that's part of it. And we can do everything when it comes down to actually maintaining the channel and when it comes down to figuring out who needs to pay. But we can't consolidate the district without the township initiating the proceedings. And like I said, that proceeding would involve a board of determination and a mailing to everybody, and for us to give people the opportunity to say, no, we don't think this is fair, and townships to, you know, step up and say, we don't think this is fair. But really, step one to the whole thing, in our mind, we think it's best to just consolidate these, get all of these together, and then we can go forward with the maintenance.
This sort of piggyback on Dana's question about if we say no and you go to another township and they say yes, we're sort of sucked into it anyway. Is there a built-in appeal system so we can say, you know, we don't want this and we don't want anything part of it?
Yeah,
or
so
we just have to get along.
That's
go
what the
along?
Board of Determination is for. So by you petitioning us or any township, all it is doing is initiating the Board of Determination process. So that's where we have the real hearing. You know, like I said, you're not making the call tonight because obviously that wouldn't be fair because these people don't even know you're making this, you know, big call on their behalf. The Board of Determination has specific proceedings within the drain code where we've got to mail everybody by first-class mail. We've got to post in the newspaper, and you know, we have to have it in, you know, have this meeting in a publicly accessible place and for everybody to get to, so that we can hold the hearing. And the board members have to be a completely disinterested party of 3. And so that's just how they do it. It's supposed to remove any of the biases so that if, you know, something benefits one township over another, you can get it for, you know, you can appeal to a board, and they can make the determination.
Real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Anyone that doesn't fall within the red line, the solid red lines right now?
Yeah.
They're not being assessed any sort of a drain fee?
Well, this is just,
I'm just
yeah, these are just the drains in question. You can see the Woolman and Wells is here, the Kraft drains here, the A.J. Taylor drains here. Those all have assessment districts to them. The Brandon Oxford and the Perry are here. They have assessment districts to them. And so right now we're assessing on the Brandon Oxford because we're doing this very activity, but it has not been hit as hard as the Paint Creek when it came to down trees. So we've been able to do everything by just doing normal maintenance assessments.
Okay, so the ones that are outside the Paint Creek district.
Yep.
Okay, that you want to combine, the three different drains, they're affected, but they're not affected by this project. And so they've been paying what they've been paying, they're going to continue to pay what they're paying?
Yeah, that's correct. They're gonna keep paying into their own assessment districts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, to summarize, is everyone in the township paying some sort of drain?
Not necessarily. Not all land
some
is within
people
a
that are
drainage district.
exempt of that.
Yeah, not everybody's water falls into a county drain.
That's what I want to know.
Some people are around a lake.
Yeah, I mean,
and-
because that map doesn't even get near M15.
No. Yeah, that first one did. That first one, you can kind of see it. You know,
Well,
there's
one
like the
that
Bald
was
Eagle Lake drain.
below there, yeah.
Chris,
Several over there.
Chris, I pay no drain. I'm not on any drain.
I don't think I do either. That's
I'm
what,
on a drain.
I'm on a drain.
okay. Well,
In the blue.
if you're on a drain, then I'm on a drain.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Your water comes down my drain.
Chris, if you look at your tax bill that you just received, here's like all the,
I didn't get my tax bill yet.
you should have, it came out.
Yeah, a week ago, 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
something like that.
no, within the past week. But it shows all your millages here, and then down below, before you get to your total cost, it will say, and it's not up with the millages because it's
You don't
not
know
based
anything.
on a millage.
Free.
It will say which drain you're on and how much you pay.
Cool.
Is there a plan for the other drain at some point?
Well,
Ours
so
was
we know
pretty
that.
close to this
Yeah. Which drain are you on?
craft.
The Kraft? That's on the list. I know
Yeah,
I saw it
it's-
on there. Yeah, we'll be getting to that one, but it's you know, depending on what's going on, this drain here just happens to have a unique problem with it, and it's the fact that it has these overlapping channel descriptions and these overlapping assessment districts.
And if it didn't-
we've known about this problem for a lot of years. I've got a map going back to the 70s from our office that shows that too. It actually calls that out. It needs to be combined because they knew that it was a problem, but we've just never had a project.
My question relates to that. Are there overlapping districts outside of our township within the Paint Creek drain?
That was the question I had.
I believe that are you referring to this, this particular drain, or are you talking about just in general, are there overlapping districts?
Within the Paint Creek drain, within the red, outside of our township, like in Lake Orion or Oxford or Independence?
No, there's not. The only overlap is, the assessment district, looks like it does not cross Baldwin, and none of these two, the Cowden and the Big Meadows, and they don't cross Oak Hill.
So, okay. If you didn't have this issue with the three drains, you would just go and do the maintenance, and you wouldn't be coming to us then because you don't need to do all of this petition is about joining into one drain, right?
That's
It
correct.
has nothing to do with the maintenance. You don't need to come to us to do the maintenance is what I'm
So the maintenance
asking.
dollar amount it does
Or is it
need
because it's
township
over the
approval,
cost?
but we need to know what the assessment district is first. And then the drain code has specific instructions on who you need permissions from and what you can do because of the value of what needs to be removed. So we'll likely be coming back because it's probably not gonna change to the point where Brandon won't be, the largest contributor to that drain. But there could be other townships that meet a certain threshold of parcels where now they need permission as well to go through with the actual maintenance and assessment.
So there's two things. One, it's to join the drain, and then two, it's because of the cost of the maintenance. It's not within your realm to do it. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Gotcha.
And so there are certain things that we have available too with us. when there's things like emergency projects or, true projects, the county, Oakland County, the Board of Commissioners, they make available up to $150,000 a loan for infrastructure projects, whether that be a 3-year repayment plan or 5-year repayment plan. They're willing to loan it at a very low interest rate. So if we find that we've taken on something that's a very large project and we're seeing some very large assessments on there, we can go to the county commissioners and ask for a loan. We just recently did this in Bloomfield Hills where we had an emergency pipe situation underneath a busy road that we had to repair in a small assessment district. And so the parcels were paying, on average, they're paying about $700-800 per year for the next 5 years to do this fix. But they're doing that at about 1.5% interest. Don't quote me on that. I hope that doesn't show up on the record, that interest rate, but that just happens to be what that one was.
So separating, if we did combine it, is it then just taking those other 2 drains that are just Brandon Township and putting it into our residence, or is it putting it into then the whole drainage area?
No, it becomes part of the whole drainage district. And we think that makes the most sense because of, like I kind of said, the nature of these drains. They're all of about the same importance. The only time we wouldn't recommend doing that is if there was something that was like a county drain where it was specifically a residential drain. If it was a closed pipe network that then fed into this, we would not recommend in that situation combining that with this because there's such different characteristics built for such different reasons. These are lands that were built into drains around the same time for the very same purpose, and they all generally are of the same characteristics, size, shape, and we think it just makes the most sense to combine all of the drainage districts and drains into one large drain and continue maintaining it through that single drainage district.
And all the districts that we have, they drain into the Paint Creek drain that going southeast.
Yeah, that's correct. On the other side of town, they're in a different watershed that I believe drains to the north. But yeah, all of these are within the Paint Creek watershed. Yeah, that's correct.
So the Paint Creek eventually drains into the Clinton River.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So I know we got into a very deep discussion about drains on that one. Like I said, I didn't think we could really have the detailed discussion without knowing the big picture. So I really appreciate all your guys' questions, and I hope I answered everything. And hopefully these amounts that I've shown you on page 7 kind of give you an idea of what exactly we're dealing with and what a drain assessment might look like that people would be paying. And I've got to say, we really can't emphasize enough. We've got to get on getting this cleaned out because these are threats to public health and property. And, the best way to go do it is to just know who you're assessing and then going forward.
So Jeff, if we have a resident, say, that's on the Cowden drain, and you had to assess them for the tree removal, that is a small area, so per parcel, the cost would probably be a lot more than if you redistricted it and charged it to the whole Paint Creek drain area, correct?
It would, but they'd also be paying into the Paint Creek. So people in the Cowden district are also in the Paint Creek district.
Okay.
And
so
it's like the Cowden is actually a very big district, but it's very short channel run in there too. So
their cost isn't going to be as high because they only have a mile of trees down where the rest has 15 miles of tree down.
Correct, but they're paying to get that 1 mile clean and they're paying to get that 15 mile clean.
So they're paying for both.
Yeah, that's correct. And potentially they're also paying for the Big Meadows because they're in a 3rd district most likely too. For the most part, the Big Meadows and the Cowden overlap each other. I know it's very confusing, and we've tried to figure this out on why they did it like this, and we've had a very hard time reading handwriting from 1904.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and they didn't quite have the the convenience of satellite imagery as we always do.
Years and years ago, decades ago, they had people incarcerated come out and actually help remove trees. out of the drain.
I've heard those stories, yeah.
Is that an option?
We don't have that program right now, but you can bid on it. So local, any local firms can bid on this work.
Local jails.
Also, many longer time ago, they had people who received welfare plant the trees in the state park. And they did that because they didn't want the handout. They needed to feed their family, and that was a way to pay it back, so we should go back to those old days.
And have the welfare people remove the trees.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
I like the
Katie.
prisoner idea
I
better,
do too.
right?
I don't think those fall within Oakland County purchasing requirements right now, so I'll check.
I think she's trying to cut costs.
I am definitely,
Well, I will say this, this maintenance activity is, you get a good return on this. I mean, when you open up the channel, you are making sure that all the storm water is getting to where it needs to be, and things are not inhibited. You're not damaging any crops. You're not allowing something to wash out and then strike a culvert and cause problems. You're not allowing things to back up at the culvert and then overtop the road. And so there is a good return on this. And eventually these drains, in the big picture, eventually these do need to be cleaned out. And that's very expensive. I mean, we're
Chris, just
talking.
to be, so we're not confusing anybody on the board. We're not voting on that tonight. We're voting to merge the three.
Well,
It has
no,
nothing
you're-
to do with the maintenance at all tonight.
You're voting, yeah, that's
for
correct. The
petition.
maintenance is more the bigger picture to start the
Right.
process. You're really voting to initiate the proceedings.
Or not voting.
To have, well, if you're voting, you are voting to initiate the proceedings to then create for the drain commissioner, the water resources commissioner, to then create the board of determination to have the hearing on the full district combination. And this is to make sure that the right people are paying into the assessment district, to make sure that we have everything tidied up administratively so that it's one combined district, and then we can go forward with doing the maintenance and then assessing them the following year. And again, like I said, there's also, options on how we do that assessment too. We could spread it over 3, we could spread it over 5 to lessen the burden, because this is 3 times more than what we would normally assess for maintenance.
I have to say, I am a horrible gambler, because I like to know way too many facts before I make a decision on anything. And I feel like this has been dropped in my lap, and I don't have any clue as to what all these districtings are and any cost that's gonna cost the residents. I'm reluctant to vote on this tonight, because like I said, I sort of feel this has been dropped in my lap, and because I am a horrible gambler, and I don't like taking chances, I'm reluctant to vote on this tonight.
Let me just read the resolution so we know what we're voting on. It says, whereas the township requests the consolidation of the drains known and designated as the Cowden Drain, Big Meadows Drain, and Paint Creek Drain located and established in Brandon Township, Oakland County of Michigan, County of Oakland, to be known as the Paint Creek Drain, and the consolidation of the Cowden Drain Drainage District, Big Meadow Drain Drainage District, and Paint Creek Drain Drainage District, with the consolidated drainage district to be known as the Paint Creek Drain Drainage District, located in Oakland County pursuant to Chapter 19 of Public Act 40 of 1956 as amended, and whereas the township has determined that the consolidation of the drains and drainage districts is conducive to the public health, convenience, or welfare. Convenience. Did I say conducive? Okay. Is conducive to the public health, conveyance, or welfare. And whereas the township will be liable for an assessment at large against it for a percentage of the cost of the proposed consolidation, now therefore be it resolved that the township board does authorize the filing of a petition for consolidation of the drains and drainage districts. Be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute the petition for consolidation of the drains and drainage districts. Be it further resolved that the clerk shall forward to the Oakland County Water Resource Commissioner a copy of this resolution.
So are you making that motion?
Yes, since I read it, I guess I will. And that's to adopt the resolution for petition for consolidation pursuant to the Chapter 19 of the Michigan Drain Code Public Act 40 of 1956 as amended. Would someone like to second?
I'll second.
And then getting back to Trustee Marshall's question, is there a way we would be able to find out exactly what the costs are? Isn't that what you want to know?
At least in the ballpark, yeah.
That's, I mean, I have 3 concerns here. One is the cost. Before I vote to do this to the residents, I'd like to know what the cost is.
Okay.
Second, I'd like to know the true health ramifications. How, you know, is this really a health issue? And third is, why would we be liable to pay for the redistricting if we didn't do this district to start with? Shouldn't Oakland County cover those costs because it's within more than one township, number one, and number two, it's who made this district to start with? Why should we have to pay for it to be redone?
So the district itself was made by the original engineers and surveyors from 1905.
Of the county?
These were the surveyors appointed by the drain commissioner when he received a petition from the either the residents or the township to establish these drains.
Okay,
and so it was actually a professional engineer within the drain code proceedings. A professional engineer had to lay out this district, and then take it. And then they had several hearings. It's this very much the same process that we would go through today. They have not updated the proceedings very much, but yeah, that was originally surveyed by an engineer, and then they sent mailings to everybody and said, hey, we've got this project to build this drain. Your water goes to this. Here's what we're estimating this is going to cost you. And then they had a hearing on that, and it was at this public place. And it's very funny how these things are written. They were posted on like telephone poles and in public places and intersections before people were driving cars. And yeah, it was originally laid out though by a surveyor appointed by the drainage district, paid for by the drainage district.
But the county approved it, though. I'm just trying to figure out, wouldn't the county pay for the redistricting since it's a county drain? And
Well,
it's the county, I mean, that's
No,
where,
I mean, all the funding is really from the assessment district itself. So ultimately, the county manages it on behalf of the assessment district, but anything that's done in it is paid for out of assessment district dollars.
As far as the health, I mean, if the drain is not flowing, then the water backs up onto residents' properties, and.
well, yeah, I mean, that.
But that's not
the
what we're
health
voting
is a
on
very,
tonight, though.
the health is concern of mine. The residents' health is very much concern of mine, but so is the cost to the residents. And
We're not voting on that
trying to
tonight, though.
figure out.
I don't want to, I think we're
Yeah, we're not
conflating the
voting,
two.
we're not voting on tonight, are we
No,
gonna do
we're
this
not
maintenance to
judging on
help
whether
the
or not we should
health?
Clean it up. We're judging on whether or not we
How we
should
allocate the
merge the
cost.
thing and get some people to pay less and some people to pay more.
That's
is what it
correct,
comes
and
down to.
it sounds like what you're interested in seeing is what is the difference if I live here and you do that project, and like I kind of pointed out, that $260,000, there's almost no difference in whether or not we merge the district or not. So you want to see what does this person in this parcel right here pay if we break that $260,000 out over the 3 districts. And then what does this person pay? Because he's not in them. What are their tax rolls going to look like at the end of the year? And I don't have that answer for you tonight.
Right.
Are you
right.
able to get that answer for us?
Yes, I could.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I said. Yeah, you're right, Scott. We're not voting on the health because we're not determining if we should do the maintenance. What we're voting on tonight is how should we do this cost to the residents? Do we leave it as is with 3 districts, or do we do it to 1 district? That's what we're voting on tonight. It has nothing to do with the health because we haven't
Well, it's actually 2 things though, Dana,
said
because
about
it's
the
not only
maintenance.
that, but it's also talking about, hey, guess what? We've got better surveying equipment now. We're going to add another 40 people onto this thing. 40
Yeah.
people that had no idea that they were going to be paying this tax when they bought their house.
But are you able to give us that answer too? Yeah, I don't know, because they have to do the work to give us that answer.
I'm sorry, give what answer? Who's actually being added?
Mm-hmm.
No, so that would come at that hearing, they can request, we want to update so we can do 2 things at that hearing. We would recommend that we resurvey the boundary if we're going to combine the district and figure out who's in, who's out. The other thing they can do is just say, all right, these are all combined, and then the new line becomes whatever the furthest outside line is in this exact drawing. So we still use the 1915, 1907, 1905 lines.
So could you switch someone's drain on them then? Because some people you said are already in another drain. Would you switch drains on somebody? Or no, they'd be already in that other drain and they're staying in the drain they're in?
So potentially, this person in this parcel right here,
Right?
their water, because they're right on the edge of the district,
Right.
their water could be going down to the Perry drain,
Right.
or it could be coming this way.
But if they're already on the Perry drain, are you going to switch them or are you going to make them on two now?
If we find out that they're in this, we're going to take them out of the Perry and put them in this.
Okay, but you're not going to put them in two. We're not going to have that problem again where someone ends up in
The
two
only
drains.
way that would show up is if there's a hill on your property and the front half drains one way and the back half drains the other. Then half your parcel is paying for that drain and the other half is paying this way. I know it sounds silly, but ultimately we think that's the fairest way to do it. Just cut it right down the line and say, give
So-
them a percentage.
So they're in two drains, but it's because their property goes like this. They're not paying two drains versus their whole property where
correct.
those other ones
They're
are
not-
paying.
They're not getting we're not claiming that their whole parcel is draining to both drains.
Because that's what you're doing with some of those in the Cowan and other ones right now, right?
Right now, we're saying that the whole part, if you live right here and you're
Right.
in those three districts, we're saying that your water drains to those three drains, and there is no percentage break.
Right,
We're
gotcha.
saying, yes, it drains to those three.
Okay.
And so, yeah, ultimately, that's correct.
So some people could have added costs because they're already paying, well, they'd have a little bit of a drop because if they're paying 100% to Perry and you move part of it to Paint Creek, then they'd be paying part and part now.
That's correct.
I mean, it could
That's
change.
more rare, because usually, you can kind of see where the borders are here. A lot of times a road will separate that, and road drainage tends to go one way or another. But it does happen sometimes where there's something on the edge, and they get cut one way or another. And in this district, that's probably going to happen. And down the line, we're going to update Brandon Oxford as well. Next time we have to do a big assessment on that, we're going to want to figure that out. We're going to use whatever surveyed edge we come up with this side. That's going to be the starting point for figuring out what's on that side. And so it's part of a long-term management of these districts that we're doing. But it's, again, we don't just come out and assess for this kind of stuff. Generally we do it when there's something big going on, so that it's not just this administrative cost that people are paying for. That's never good. You want to do it with a project where it makes sense, because if you're going to assess them already for the project, it's best to know who truly needs to pay into this and who doesn't.
Real quick, looking at that map again, did you say that top road was Oakwood?
Yeah, that's Oakwood, correct.
Okay, and Baldwin is the one that splits the map?
Right there, that's Baldwin.
Okay, now if I look at all the red and all the districts that are included in the red, it looks to me, and that's Oak Hill down there, right there?
This one's Oak Hill, yep.
Right. If I look at that, I'd say like maybe 2/3 is within that red, and easily, I'd say like even closer to 60% is above Oak Hill, and like about 35 to 40% is below Oak Hill. Is that pretty much a fair assessment?
You're talking about the orange and the green?
No, I'm talking about the roads. What's Brandon Township, what's not Brandon Township?
Okay, it's
on that map, Chris, but that doesn't show the whole township on the map.
We're only
Right, but
talking about our-
that little square, that rectangle that he's got his hand in, that's us.
That's us.
Yes.
Are you saying you think that this only makes up 1/3 of the land area?
No, I'm saying it makes up 2/3, but that's about it.
It's close to that, yeah. I think it's like 56, 58%, somewhere right there.
Okay, so I'm not misreading the map.
No,
Right.
you're not. That's correct.
Okay, so I'm wondering, okay, somehow the people below Oak Hill, their water drains north?
No.
That's correct. It drains north and ends up in the Paint Creek drain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
When there's a new home built, if it's anywhere near one of the drains or on a drain, is it already automatically put onto the taxes?
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, this line in our software, it doesn't move. So you
Okay.
can build a house The only thing that would affect that is if a subdivision comes through.
Okay.
But with some of this, we can tell that this wasn't updated. So now, like the newer practice now, if it's a plat, it comes to us. But if it's a site condo, it doesn't. So if a plat comes to us and we see, all right, we've got to adjust the drainage district, then we do that. Because then you get the construction plans and you see, because oftentimes when they do a full, development, they really reroute the water in there and it goes to a completely different place.
But that point that you were pointing to there, that's actually, it's a trailer park and it's only owned by one or two people. And so that's gonna hit them especially hard.
Well,
Yeah, right now they're about 90% in the district.
And do they even pay it? Do the people there even pay?
'Cause that's
Yes,
Independence
they
Road.
do.
They do pay on the drain?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
You're saying that's one
owner
owner
pays
for the
it.
whole thing?
The owner pays, not the, pardon me?
Are those broken out into separate lots or are those just
That's
one
a
big
trailer
lot?
park.
Is it just one big lot or is
They're
it?
rented, they're rented lots.
Small lots,
Oh, they are, but it's one
trailer
owner.
park.
one owner.
One or two owners, yeah.
Yeah. two
Okay, if
owners,
it were
actually.
one lot, I would say that's a good candidate to be that $4,000 parcel.
I think so too, that's what I
That's
decided.
probably it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they
that
do
makes
pay on
sense.
the
There's
drain,
a
but
lot of
the
places
owner
there.
of the mobile home park pays on the drain, not each separate trailer
Each
person.
individual trailer pays a water bill.
They all pay a water bill, gotcha, okay.
Yeah, but this goes to the,
Property
the
owner,
tax, yeah, the
not
tax
to
bill.
the,
That's it, so it doesn't show up on one of our,
The drain.
a lot of, well, I guess, this township doesn't really have this, but in a lot of places where we do like the water and the sewer, you'll get a water and sewer bill from WRC, but we always have to tell people the drain bill is gonna come on your
Property
winter taxes, yeah. That's exactly it. So, can I ask you this, since I know you wanna see what exactly are the difference in, this parcel here versus this parcel here, before consolidation and after. Does what I'm showing on page 7, would that be understandable if I did another column after that and I said, all right, amount if consolidated, amount if not consolidated, type of thing? Would that make sense?
More clear cut to me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like that too.
Is that something you would like to see before voting on this, or is that something you would just recommend before going to the Board of Determination?
No,
I'd like to see it before a
Yeah,
vote.
me too.
Okay.
Right now, I'm a no vote.
we have a vote on the table though,
When,
so how
when
we
would
do
you
that?
be able to get that to us?
Within the week.
Oh, well, for our next meeting would be.
January 2nd.
No, January.
No, not January 2nd.
Okay.
January 8th.
No.
It says January 8th. Because
Oh,
New Year's
we
Day
haven't
is.
voted on that.
Yeah, but New Year's Day is a Monday.
We haven't voted on the calendar yet, Dana.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, so it'd either be the,
All right.
New Year's Day is
That's
a
okay, I
Monday, so it'd be
understand.
like
It'll be
around
early
there.
It'd either be
January.
Tuesday
Yeah.
the 2nd or Monday the 8th.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can have someone make another motion to postpone this.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Don't we have to take your motion off the table though, Kathy, or
I
no?
think that motion would override this one. And I think we would bring it back as unfinished business, but I'll have to double check. It might already be a motion on the floor that we bring it back when we bring.
Okay.
And
I'll
this,
make a motion to postpone.
I'll make a motion to postpone it to our next meeting.
And you can make it to that meeting,
Yeah.
and you'll have the information. Okay.
Who supported?
Somebody down there.
I think, Chris, you supported?
Yeah, I definitely support it.
Hope we didn't mess with your Christmas bonus.
Nope, no such thing exists.
I was gonna
County
say,
employee.
They don't get bonuses.
You're not in the bonus pool.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, we just want, what's best for maintaining this long-term and, making sure that the parcels that are in the district and draining to this are paying and that everybody's paying fairly.
Okay.
And also that the channel gets cleaned out, most importantly. Let's start there.
Yeah. Yeah, it needs it.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee DePalma, seconded by trustee Cordella to postpone this item to the next meeting. Correct?
Yes.
Yes. Are you going to show us, when you do that extra column, are you just going to show us the added cost for combining the district and then the added cost for the maintenance? Can you do like two different things of what their bill would go for combining or are you going to just do it all as one?
Okay, so what I can do is, so on this one right here, we have what it looks like per parcel for a normal maintenance assessment.
Okay.
And then we have the proposed project assessment. What I can do is, specify, all right, if somebody's in all three of these, you can kind of see, hopefully it's good enough, but the Big Meadows and the Cowden, they're very similar drainage districts. So do you just want to see, if somebody's in all three versus if somebody's just in one, do we need to see two? Because ultimately that doesn't apply to many
I'll make a
people.
suggestion to you that might make it clear to people.
Yeah,
who-
absolutely.
For what you're gonna bring to us next month.
Yeah.
Is okay, we know the clinic's gonna be done, okay, so and then have another comment that says, okay, based on the fact that it's gonna be done, under the current assessments, this is what a guy in the low end is gonna pay, this is a guy in a medium range is gonna pay, this is what a guy in the high end is gonna pay. Now, if we merge all three districts, here's what the low guy will pay,
Yep.
here's what the middle guy will pay, this is what the top guy will pay.
Absolutely.
It helps us understand how I'm worried about hitting mom and pop with, it's gonna help some of the guys in the middle there where we merged them out, where we're merging them into a bigger group. But some of these people in the bigger group are gonna be paying more now, and I need to know what that amount's gonna be.
Okay, yeah, certainly.
The differences, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see if I don't merge them or if I do merge them, what that cost is for the maintenance, plus what does that cost for them to do the merging? What's that costing per person?
Sure.
Per parcel, or in the range, like he said?
Absolutely. I will say that the merging itself is not much more money because we're going to recommend looking at the district again. So maybe I can break that out. But in the grand scheme of it, looking at the district on there was something. So when I say looking at, I mean redrawing the lines. It was something like $20,000 on it, and so that would it'd be about under a tenth of like 1/12, 1/13 of the cost of the whole thing. And so I would just break that out to the three different districts. But, it will certainly be on there.
Okay. And then you'll do the maintenance for if you were combined or if you weren't combined type of a thing. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay, I'm good. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, I have a motion on the floor by trustee De Palma, seconded by trustee Cordella. Again, it's to postpone this proposed resolution to the next meeting. Okay? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Looks like it's approved unanimously to postpone this to our January meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for all your info.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff.
Hey, by the way, very good job. You were well versed in your subject matter.
Well, thank you. Yeah, like I said, we had to kind of start, to get to the detail, we had to really go through a lot of
Yeah.
the
Hard
big
concept.
picture.
And you did a great job at it. So
Thank you.
I thank
Hope
you.
you guys learned something about these drains.
Yeah, we did.
Definitely.
More than I ever wanted to know.
All right,
But,
thank you.
Great job.
So now we'll move on to our next item, which is the CDBG fiscal year 2018 resolution and allocations.
You missed D and E.
You missed the,
I'm trying to get through this meeting faster, that's all.
I'm like, what happened to D?
Okay, holiday pay policy revision. We had an issue with one of our employees that was unclear with the way the policy was written, so this language is being presented just to clarify it, because for holiday pay, the part-time eligible employees do not get holiday pay after their introductory period, because they do not qualify as part-time eligible employees until they have worked for the township for 1 year. So we want to take that, strike out that section at the top and clarify it at the bottom.
So what is it, are we replacing the black with the red or the red with the black?
Replacing the red
No,
or the black with the red.
We're doing the cross off.
Correct, yeah.
And then we're
Strike
adding
through.
the red.
Yes.
For
We're
total
striking
benefit
out
pay for the same
Okay.
the strikeout part.
What is the
And
introductory period, by the way?
the introductory period is the first 90 days for full-time employees, but it doesn't apply to part-time eligible.
I'll make that motion, Kathy.
So
As
we're not
presented.
taking or adding away, it's just how it's being worded now.
Right.
Right? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
just to
second you then. It's just wording.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second already. The motion is by trustee Bratton, the second is by trustee DePalma. I don't have a suggested motion, but it's to make the policy.
Here, Kathy. It's right here.
It's on the back.
I didn't get it on the back either of mine.
Oh, yeah, it's on the back of mine. Scott's special, he got one.
I didn't get one.
To approve the proposed policy amendment as presented. I don't think both sides got printed.
Nope.
No.
But he got the original, that's why. He
Can-
has the
That's
Can you
special.
read that?
Special.
Can you read that again?
To approve the proposed policy amendment as presented.
It also got scanned in though, too, so the public has it, too.
Wait, what does this say? Oh.
Okay, are there any other questions? Let's go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice. DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Clinton River watershed dues. For a while, we were not participating with the Clinton River. Last year, we decided we would, and they lowered our dues amount because only half the township is involved in the Clinton River watershed. So the suggested motion is to renew Brandon Township's membership with the Clinton River Watershed Council annually for $500. And I wrote it that way so I wouldn't have to bring this back every year. But if the amount changes, it would come back. Or if someone wanted to bring it back to the board, they could bring it back to the board.
I don't like the
I don't either, Kathy.
annually.
I'll
I
make
think
the
we should-
motion without the word annually in it.
Well, I'm wondering,
Okay, does someone want to second that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion by trustee Broughton, seconded by trustee Cordella, to renew Brandon Township's membership with the Clinton River Watershed Council for $500.
I guess my question is do you feel we need to have this membership? Have they been? Because I know we stopped doing it and then we did it and then you say that you feel we should do it again, so I'm just asking why.
We decided to, they do a lot of good things. And I think you said they came out to the schools and did a presentation?
I think they did come out to one school.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did come out to one school. That's right. I forgot about that. I tried to get them to come to the other school and it didn't work.
So enclosed are all the things they do. They keep the Clinton River watershed
Help keep it clean, which is helping the trains.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. I just didn't know if there's anything in particular that you were looking for with having them be part of it.
Nope.
Okay.
They sent me the request. I'm bringing it to the board.
Okay.
Any other discussion or questions? All right. Again, that's a motion by trustee Broughton, seconded by trustee Cordella, to renew Brandon Township's membership with the Clinton River Watershed Council for $500.
Courtney, to make it clear, we removed annually out of that, okay.
Yeah.
Making sure everybody understood.
No, she got it.
Let's do a roll call, please.
Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice. DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Now we can get to the CDBG fiscal year 2018 resolution and allocations. Presented by the clerk.
Yep, it's that time again. I've written down my suggested funding for 2018. I do have one change in project number 4. The minimum amount that I can give is $3,000. So if we add $500 to the 25, on page 2, we're looking at the recommendations first, not the resolution.
But you have to change on the resolution as well, though, right?
Yes.
Doesn't it change to 3,000?
Yes, and then project number 3 would change to $22,835. And it will change on the resolution as well, same numbers.
2,833?
22835.
22835.
Yes.
Kenny, is there a limit on how much we can give, for instance, to OSEF? How did this get split down to the senior center getting 23,000, but OSEF only getting 3,500? How does that split? Where did that come from?
Right up here, public services can only use 30% of the total amount. So the max that we can give in public services is $9,850.50.
Okay.
That's the most we can give. And it could be to one public service project or 2. The max I can have is 4 projects.
Okay.
So there's always one big, huge project, which is normally the senior center.
Okay.
And then the 30% is broken down in up to 3 other projects.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm not making this suggestion, but in theory, we could have upped the first 2, and then the senior center would have just gotten a little bit less. Is that what you're saying?
Well, the senior center's only getting 3,000.
Well, I guess that's what I thought that 23,000 was.
No, that is removal of architectural barrier over at our fire stations. Did you
I thought
see
that was
that?
it. Yeah, okay.
Flip to this page.
The description
Yeah, I see
on
it. I'm
number
looking at
3.
it.
I thought, how is the senior center getting 3 when you got 2,500 written here?
I just amended that.
You just amended it? Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that, I must have been, gotcha.
So the removal of architectural barriers went to $22,835.
Gotcha, that's where that came from, sorry.
And have we had requests from the community to lower the counters in the fire stations?
No, but we are looking to put our buildings to ADA compliant.
And then what?
As we did our front door.
I can understand the doors. I just don't think the counters have really been an issue. And I think that it would be to better use, like Scott was saying, for either youth services or emergency services. But that's just my opinion.
I know, I agree with you, Kathy.
Then my other question is the depreciation, because if we don't keep these buildings, we have to pay them back for the work that we are asking them to do.
Correct.
And it's depreciated over how long before that's not a concern? We
That's
don't
up to
know.
our auditor how anything depreciates.
Oh, well, yeah, depends on what he puts it under, because building, if you make improvements, typically if you make improvements to a non-residential building, it's 39 years.
Really? That
Kenny, I
long?
think all
For
these,
major improvements.
these are all
But
good,
I'm not sure
good
what he would do
causes.
with these ones.
I guess I'd just like to see the BGYA and all stuff get as much as they can, the max.
I guess my question is, has the fire department said they needed the countertops?
I met with the fire chief and his assistant and Carla Spradlin from Oakland County, our monitor, who highly suggested that. She sat in this building and said, I cannot believe the height of these counters in this building. And then when we went down to the fire station, she was over the top. Why are our buildings not ADA compliant? They don't have automatic doors at the fire stations.
Right, I could see doing that. I just
the
didn't know
doors,
the
too.
counters.
So I'm stuck as far as I can only have 4 projects a year.
No, they're good projects. I just.
No,
wanna
I'm
sit there
I'm trying to
and-
explain that the max is 4 projects. We have put tons and tons and tons, thousands of dollars in the senior center. We're running out of projects to do at the senior center. There's a very few that are left to do, and we've redone the entire building.
good.
And, which is great, yes, we have a wonderful senior center.
So
We could, because there's another $2,850.50 available in the public services, add those monies to the public service emergency and youth services and deduct it from the facility improvements.
Yes.
Right, so you're saying go.
It is going to be a bigger job because once you go over $3,500, you have to put it out for bids, you have to do
Oh.
postings, you have to do public hearings. So that's
Yeah,
why
remember
I
that
went
came
to
up
the
last year.
minimums.
Okay, that's why you did that. I
It-
remember you did that last
And
year.
it actually takes money out of
You're right.
what we are receiving. So that's why I've always done it that way.
Oh,
Yeah.
public
Previous clerk.
services,
Now
if they
you
go
explained
higher
it
than,
that way.
so you're saying if the public services too go higher than 3,500, there's more, you have to,
Yeah, we have to have a public hearing and postings, and I have to put it out for bid.
It's not worth the difference there. Just leave it the way
I'm
it is.
happy to do
No,
anything.
I agree with you, Candy.
I really am happy to do it.
You've explained why you've done it that way, so it makes sense to me now.
The more money, these dollars are all our federal tax dollars coming back to our community, and I am an advocate to spend it on things, not people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, use it to the best we can.
yeah, I just hate to see
And
us have to
if
pay
we-
anything back ever though, if we do something with our buildings.
Now, if we had to pay it back, what happens is that funding would come back to our community. We reprogram that same funding. Let's just say it was $5,000 to put in 2 automatic door openers at 2 fire stations for both, $2,500 each. And something happened to the buildings. They were sold, anything. Then we would pay back the money to the county, and then we would reallocate the funds that we did have to another project.
So we would, basically, the amount that we would have to be paid back, we would just invest it in another project.
Correct. We would end up getting it back.
So my question is, if we do not spend all of our money, what happens to it?
It gets reprogrammed.
By,
This board. We come up with more ideas. I have to go through my monitor and say, okay, we weren't able to spend all the money in 2018 funds. Now what do we do with it? We can, our fire department needs an elevator.
As a public service person, I'm liking this. As a taxpayer, it's driving me crazy.
It is
How
what
can
it
we
is.
spend more money? Let's figure it out.
Well, I have asked my monitor several questions, trying to find ways to spend our money, because at some point, we may have to say, Oakland County, you keep our funding and put it into minor home repairs or
Maybe we
mobile
can-
home repairs.
Maybe we can figure out, moving forward on an annual basis, how we can make this process easier for making sure that BGYA and OSEF can get the maximum amount. Maybe we can come up with some kind of easy process for getting the bids and just get it done fairly inexpensively. Because I would like to see those two groups get as the max that they can.
And if that's your wish, I'm more than happy to do it.
Yeah, I could see doing that too. I know that both of them, every year I hear OSEF could use more food for the people, and
Absolutely.
and I know that the youth services could always use more help too for the
They
the
spend
kids.
well over $4,000 every 3 weeks.
Yeah, so I would like to see
So-
that too, because that's an extra almost $1,400 each of them could get.
Right, yep.
So
And if we don't spend it, if they're not able to spend it, we reprogram it. We find another
I'm
project.
sure both of them would be able to spend it.
Yeah.
so the county, if we don't spend the money, the county will give it to people who can't afford minor home repair, like their furnace or their,
Hot water heater, up to $5,000 is what they'll give. Whether it's a new hot water heater, furnace, I can't think of anything else.
Within our township or?
Yes, within our township.
Okay, so we'd try to help still within
Yeah,
our
it would
township. It
be-
wouldn't just go to all of
Because
Oakland
to
County.
me, it seems like that would be more worthwhile to help somebody heat their home than to lower counters. That's.
I'm here to get your input. I put it out there, what ideas I could think of, and sat with my monitor, and that's what we came up with, so. I will always fight that we spend the money in our township.
Sure.
Yeah.
There are other communities that just say, you know what, the county can handle it and take care of it and do what you want. I hope that never happens here. The AED, automatic electronic defibrillator, at the senior center was #1 top for me. We definitely need one there.
Good place to have one.
Yes, it is a really good place.
Okay, well, can I make a motion that, as presented, except for the fact that you're gonna max out the OSEF and the BGYA?
Yep.
And I don't know the best way to word all that.
Do you want
so-
that just split? The
Yeah, split-
difference will
split 'em
split?
evenly.
All right, so down below, we'll change it up. Does the number lady have that amount? It'd be 1425 and a quarter added to 3,500.
Right, so it'd be
49.25.
49.25,
yeah. That's what I already had.
for each.
Yeah.
And then
So-
subtract that from the,
Yes, now we have to deduct 28,5050 from the 22,835,
yes.
please.
I'll wait till the numbers are finished and then I'll.
Okay.
So it's 19,985.
19,985.
So does it all add up? Plus 49.25 plus 49.25 plus 3,000 is 32,835. Yep.
Thank you. So I changed the numbers down below in the motion, Scott.
Okay.
To read 3,000 for the senior center. I'm going backwards. 19,995 for the architectural barriers.
That was
19,995.
19,985.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's what I was just checking.
And then $4,925.25 each of youth services and emergency services.
Not 25 cents.
Could
Oh,
you
yeah,
run-
the 25 cents. I
Could you
didn't
run
see
those,
that.
the last one by me again?
4925.25.
Oh, so then, hold on, didn't see that was 50 cents. Hold on.
Well, I did that one.
49,
Out of
25.
calculator.
What?
With 25 cents.
49.
Candy, since I caused you the problem here, if there's any help you need with the bidding process, please let me know,
Okay.
since I caused the issue.
So it
Thank
should be
you.
19,984.50 then, for the
Okay,
other one. I didn't take the 50 cents off, sorry. I missed the 50 cents.
that's all right. Okay. So. Oh.
So you have to.
Did you see?
Do this first.
Darn it, yes.
It's okay.
I would like to make a motion. Do we have a motion on the floor?
No.
I would like to make a motion that I abstain from voting for the program year 2018 CDBG fund allocation recommendations due to the fact I am the treasurer for Brandon Groveland Youth Assistance.
Is that part of your motion?
Yep,
You have to do that last year?
Yeah.
yep.
Okay. Do you want us to say yes?
Mhm.
Okay.
Where does OSEF come
Did we say yes last year?
Yes.
Where does OSEF come?
This is OSEF right here.
I'll second.
Emergency services, oh, okay.
Okay, so I have a motion by Clerk Allen, seconded by Trustee Broughton, to allow Candy Allen to abstain from voting for the fiscal year 2018 CDBG fund allocation recommendations due to the fact that she is the treasurer for BGYA. Correct?
Yep.
So let's change that up a little bit. Okay, are there any questions about that? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. You have to vote too.
I did say aye.
Did you
Did
say
you
aye?
hear me?
I don't hear
I
anything.
did say aye.
I don't hear a thing.
All right.
I said aye.
I have a unanimous vote, 6-0
Yep.
on that one.
Correct.
Okay. All right, so next we have the resolution number 28417, approving program year 2018 Community Development Block Grant application. And that's with the amended numbers. So who would like to make this adoption of this resolution as amended?
I thought I did. I'll make that motion.
Who would like to second the motion?
I'll second.
All right, is there any discussion on this? Do we approve each project before the money is spent? How does that work?
No. You're approving it tonight in this resolution.
Okay. I still have problems with the facilities improvements. I mean, not with the doors, but the counter. I rather see some money go to poor people that can't pay for a furnace than to lower counters. But
Well, here's a question for you, though. What's the penalty if we are not ADA compliant?
I don't believe there's a penalty, is there?
I have no idea.
Let's see.
I think eventually there will be.
I understand your wanting to help people that really afford it, but I think we have an obligation as a government entity to follow the ADA recommendations.
I would agree if that was the township offices, but I don't know that I've ever visited the fire station counter before.
Well, they have a counter. It's high, but it's right next to the
But
door.
how often does
where
it
they
get
could
used by
come
the
in.
public is, I guess, my point.
I don't know. I couldn't answer that question, but I
I don't know what kind of walk-in traffic they have.
don't believe they've had complaints. And if they can get into the building, I don't have a problem.
I'm agreeing with
their
you,
door.
Kathy.
Yeah.
We're agreeing here.
Yeah, I think new buildings have to be ADA compliant.
Yep.
Old buildings, I'm not sure if they're all grandfathered or if you've given so much time to become ADA compliant. I'm not sure. Oh, that's what I was trying to research and I couldn't find. I just
You couldn't
know,
find anything?
I know new buildings have to be, but types of buildings must be.
This is your time to change it. Do
But-
what you guys want.
Is my building grandfathered in?
But we don't know how much the doors would cost and how much the counters
We
would
can't
cost.
split the doors off of this project and do something different. You can only have 4 projects, so
Projects.
you need to take a whole project off.
Which means you can't do, oh, so if you say you want to keep some money to help the homeowners, you can't do the doors then, basically?
Correct.
Because you can't have, that's like a 5th
Correct.
project.
We would, and actually, we'd be swapping it out for a whole different project.
Right. Because then it
And
makes
this is
5
the time to do it. My application is due December 15th. I don't think we're meeting again prior to, but we could have a special meeting. Those are our options.
To help homeowners, you would handle, I mean, that would be handled through our township, not through the county?
No, it would be through the county.
So you wouldn't have to do that.
The
work.
only way I would be able to do minor home repair through this township is to hire a helper to help me all year round with CDBG. It is the biggest job I do.
Right.
It's the most time consuming, and I'm not complaining, I'm just telling you, it is a huge job to do these grants.
Are often required to
So you could reproject, instead of removal of the architectural barriers, it could be reprogrammed to minor home repair?
The whole thing would
The
have to
whole
be
thing?
changed. You can't.
Correct. That amount of money would have to go to minor home and repair.
And then if we don't, yeah.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Oops, that's different. Oh, over here. To adopt resolution 28417 as amended. Right now, the amendments are for $19,984.50 to go to removal of architectural barriers. $4,925.25 going to public services, emergency services, the same amount going to public services, youth services, and then $3,000 going to public facilities and improvements, senior center. Did we want to make any amendments to this motion before we vote? So the silence is no? I would think so. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a roll call, please.
Darnall is absent with notice. De Palma.
Yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Broughton.
Yes.
Thurman.
No. Motion carries 5-1. Next on our agenda are budget amendments that the clerk is presenting.
I am.
Yeah.
This amendment is due to the fact that the state of Michigan said we had to buy new election equipment. They covered everything except one scanner. I bought an extra scanner for the counting board. So they are not hand counting over 2,000, 3,000 ballots. And it will also be used for an emergency if should any of the other scanners break down at a precinct.
I'll make that motion to
Second.
transfer $4,000 from election equipment line to the equipment capital outlay line.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee De Palma, seconded by trustee Broughton, to transfer $4,000 from the election equipment line to the equipment capital outlay line. Is there any discussion? No? Roll call, please.
De Palma.
Yes. Thought I went first last time, but okay. Oh, no, that was Darnell, but she was absent. Gotcha. That's why I paused. I'm like,
De Palma.
yes.
Cordella.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Broughton.
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice. Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Now we're to the 2018 meeting calendar.
Okay.
I guess there's some discussion about our first meeting of the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
In past years, and we sometimes do this, well, we do it every year for Labor Day. We have the meeting on the following Tuesday of the first Monday. So it's your option.
I like the Monday after
So leave
the
it
New
as the
Year's
8th.
Day. Yeah.
The problem with that is we have between Christmas and New Year's, we have that Friday, the Monday off and the Friday off, so that gives us 3 days to get the packet ready. The packets are usually ready on Thursday.
That's what I'm saying. I like to leave it January 8th.
Oh.
Yeah, you're getting more time.
Yeah. No, I'm like, I want to leave it. I'm trying to give you that time.
All right, great.
Overachiever.
Gosh. If you really want to, though.
I thought you meant to stay with the
No,
Tuesday.
no, I would like to look at July 2nd, though, moving that one, but that's, let me see. I already know. We have a family reunion, so. But let me see, maybe not. It's gonna be,
You know, our policy says we meet the first Monday of the month.
Yeah.
So I don't like changing it any more than we have to.
I agree, Candy. We can't start scheduling our meetings around
No.
everybody's
no, we
vacation.
usually just do it around the 4th of July because sometimes it's on a Monday and we move it the following week,
But
that's
it's
all.
not.
That only happened the last couple of years, though.
You know, it's a Wednesday this year, so
Never
it's kind of
happened before.
difficult. Well, I just might miss the meeting then because we always,
I'll make a motion to,
Approve the meeting and holiday schedule as presented?
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
well, then why, hold on. November 12th.
support.
Okay.
Now we can talk about it.
Yep, okay, so you want to make one for November 12th, though, and that's Veterans Day, which is a holiday for you guys, and it's not the first Monday. So that's going to be a problem. Sorry, I just caught that afterwards because I was going through the calendar.
I didn't go that far ahead.
Well, we have met on,
So we have a gubernatorial election.
On the 6th. But the issue is Veterans Day is on Monday, on,
The following Monday.
yeah, is being seen on the Monday.
I never had a job where I had Veterans Day off, so I don't know how to deal with that.
Well, that's why you'd have to do it. Plus, we usually stick to the first Monday of the month, so,
we can't on election.
huh?
We typically do not on election.
I don't know what to do about
That's
Veterans
past
Day, though.
practice.
Veterans Day is a holiday.
Yeah,
Well,
you
the
gotta put that
offices
off,
are
don't
closed
you?
that day, but
Yeah.
doesn't mean we can't meet.
Yeah. That's true.
There's a motion on the floor, ma'am.
I know there is, I
But we're
just,
having discussion.
yeah, I don't know what our
couldn't
alternative
hear
is.
any.
The election's on a Tuesday. We could possibly do the meeting later that week, or we could do it the Tuesday after Veterans Day.
I asked that the August meeting be moved a week due to the election. It's gonna be a big election. Or I won't be here, which is,
August
it's up to you
13th.
guys.
We're talking just about November,
The primary.
yeah. So we could do the 13th if we want to do a Tuesday night, or just come in on November 12th.
Well, I won't be
okay
here
with me,
July
too.
2nd, and that's okay with you guys, so I just try
So
not.
we're
I'm
good
okay
with
with coming in on the
November
12th. I'm okay with coming in on the 12th. It's not a holiday for most people.
It's not, but I didn't know with the offices being closed,
Don't have
if
an
we pick up our packet
That
and,
one if you wanna look.
you know.
Oh, you got
Here.
one.
I always pick it up on a Friday.
Well, you have
They're not
keys
here.
to get in.
Well, I
Courtesy of the
know, I
fire
can, but I'm not talking about my packet. I'm talking about like you guys, if you guys have work to do to prepare for the meeting and the office is closed, or if anybody and the employees aren't here that day. I didn't know how much work gets done the day of the meeting,
None.
and if the office is closed.
Well, we
That was my
prepare the
concern.
room.
Oh, the chairs are set up the day of the meeting.
Okay,
that's
I
it.
didn't know how much you guys do. I'm fine picking up my packet the week before, and yes, I have a key. It was more, what do you guys do the day of a meeting if we're closed?
The election is November 6th in 2018.
Correct?
So, and Veterans Day does fall on the 12th.
Correct.
I have no problem coming to a meeting that night.
Okay. I was just asking, because it was the holiday listed here. That's why I was asking.
It doesn't affect me at all. I don't know about Kathy's office or Kathy.
It doesn't matter.
Okay. I just wanted to ask, because it was a holiday, and I didn't want people to say, well, your office is closed during the day, you're having a meeting at night, and be an issue.
We post the calendar.
Okay. It's just confusing.
Is everybody good with
so
having a
back
meeting
to
on
the
Veterans Day? Or
original
the
motion.
holiday for is that the actual Veterans Day?
No, actual Veterans Day, I think, is the 11th.
Sunday, the 11th.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm fine, I just didn't want it to be confusing for people, for them to see this, and then that we're closed. That's all.
We're almost there.
I don't know.
You're gonna wear your jammies next time, aren't you?
All right, I have a motion on the floor by trustee Broughton, seconded by clerk Allen, to approve the 2018 meeting and holiday schedule as presented. There's no further discussion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say nay.
Nay.
So we have the motion carrying at 5, 4, and 1 against.
What? 5 and
5
4, or 1 against?
5, 4.
5 for it.
For it and 1
FOR.
against it.
FOR, not FOUR.
I caught it the way you did the candy.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
5, 4, 54. All right, next on our agenda, 2018 Budget Appropriations Act.
I'll make that motion. I think we've
To
already-
approve the Charter Township of Brandon General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2018 as presented.
Yes.
Usually I read through this whole thing.
No.
Yes.
And I'll second it.
Yes, she
Who
has.
seconded?
I did.
Okay.
There's a copy for any of you four that want to see this, and for anybody online. It's online, so you can see it.
Incredibly lengthy.
Okay, any questions regarding the Charter Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2018? Or the proposed budget? Nope. Okay, I have a motion by trustee Broughton, seconded by trustee Cordella, to approve the Charter Township of Brandon General Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2018 as presented. Roll call, please.
Marshall,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Broughton,
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice. DePalma,
Yes.
Cordella,
Yes.
Thurman.
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Well, that was a lot faster than I thought.
We've already talked about it.
Yeah, how many meetings we had about it?
I think every year I've read through it, that's why.
Oh.
Okay. Next are budget amendments. So at the end of the year, I go through the budget, and I spent a lot of time on this, but these were the amendments that I'm recommending that we make so that we're not over in any line items.
Seems like a lot this year.
Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 things.
Oh.
And
this
our
is
first
just with
full year
any-
in,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah,
our first
taking
full
money.
year in BSNA too.
Taking money away.
Right.
Yeah. Are there questions on any of them?
None.
Metro Authority funds, we don't know what we're getting until we get them, so we're just amending the budget to reflect that.
Did we get more or less? Trying to figure out which way it goes from.
From 12.7, we got less than what we budgeted by $323.
Ooh, okay.
But by
Not
making
much.
that transfer, Kathy, are we limiting the fact that I kind of mentioned that we might want to consider doing some areas for a 6th chloriding where it gets really dusty, or where, are we limiting
Oh,
ourselves on that?
No, we can't use these funds for chloride.
Okay, I just didn't understand. I guess you'll have to explain to me what the difference is.
Paving only.
Paving only.
Well, it's, yeah.
Or
well,
gravel.
No, we can use this for road projects. It can be improvements of intersections.
So chloride just isn't considered an
Yeah.
improvement?
Right, chloride isn't included.
Probably an
Okay.
It's a luxury
Oh,
item.
maintenance.
Okay.
But chloride can be part of tri-party funds, or we also have road improvement funds.
Okay.
And I made a notation at the bottom. We didn't spend our $20,000 on road repair this
That's what I
year.
saw.
So I'll be asking to add it to the budget for road repair next year as a budget amendment when we get into next year. So some of the carry forward, we can put to more road maintenance, and
Okay.
part of that can be used for more chloride.
Right.
Okay. Then the same thing with the cell tower funds. We don't know exactly how much we're getting until April or May when we get the checks. So that's just to amend those lines.
We received more, it looks like.
Yes. we
Gotcha.
received more. Same for the West Nile virus fund. The county doesn't let us know how much we're getting until we go to their meeting in March. So that's just to amend those lines. Ordinance enforcement cost center, that's probably the only thing in our budget that really we hadn't anticipated that we spent more than we thought we would when we budgeted for it. And that's because they took money, or the cost for printing was assessed out of that, assessed to that line. So we just have to make a small adjustment for that.
I'll make the suggested motion as presented.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Clerk Allen, and it's seconded by Trustee Broughton to make the following transfers and budget amendments as presented.
Do they need to be listed or just as stated?
They need to be listed. Is there any discussion on this? Roll call, please.
Allen?
Yes.
Broughton?
Yes.
Darnall is absent with notice. DePalma?
Yes.
Cordella?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Thurman?
Yes, motion carries unanimously. Last on our agenda, unsold properties. These properties came to us earlier this year, and we rejected them. Then they went to the land sale. In order to have them not be owned by the township, we have to object to receiving them from the county. So then the county will get them back, and the county will either try to sell them, or we'll try to see if the neighboring properties want to absorb them and for an extra cost. So, any questions? Someone like to make the suggested motion?
I'll make the motion as presented.
I'll second.
All we know is that we don't want them, right?
Right. I have a motion by,
I do.
I'm sorry, what?
Nothing, I was mumbling.
I have a motion by Trustee Broughton, seconded by Trustee Cordella, to object to receiving the 2017 unsold properties in Brandon Township. Okay, no further discussion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. So that brings us to citizens' comments. And they're still here. So we have citizens' comments on any item, and please limit yourself to 3 minutes per person. Yes, yes, please.
Can I say my name?
Yes.
Everybody knows me?
I know it though.
I'm Rick Gibbons. I'd just like to commend you guys for turning down the trails, because now look at the big white elephant that come rolling in a month later. Because I looked at the map out there, and this drain commission is right where that trail would have come through. And you're going to be telling them people, we want money. Just like that trail would have been going, we want money. So it's a good thing we turned down that trail, isn't it? Thank you.
Is that his way of saying I
Wow.
told you so?
You waited all.
In the future.
You waited all night for that.
You want to bring,
I
you want to
know.
bring up the trails again?
That was the fastest comedy ever.
We got 2.5 minutes.
Hey, don't encourage the man. Please. It's already 10 o'clock.
Okay,
Heath.
yes.
Yep, South Hadley Road. Regarding the 23,000, or I think you guys knocked it down to 18,000 or whatever for the fire station. A few of you commented that it probably makes more sense to do these counters here. I would have agreed with that. So, like you said, I've only been to the fire station once in the 10 years I've lived here. So I don't know how many handicapped people are actually going to the fire stations. So maybe in the future consider that. And then you'd mentioned also it'd be nice to give the money to maybe poorer families. That would have made more sense too. But once again, just in the future. I know you'd mentioned that you're going to think about selling this building, but still I think it would have been made more sense because I don't think these counters here are ADD compliant, are they?
That wouldn't, oh, I can't answer.
We can't answer
You
you,
can't
but
tell me.
we'll have time for the board to make comments.
Okay.
All right,
That's
thank
all.
you.
Yeah.
Fire department guy will come out and give you a burn permit though, outside the room. So.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? You might as well, you've been here all night.
Paul Barber?
On the drains, on this whole drain thing, Chris, you had a good point there about all those trees accumulated in 3 years. Having a hard time believing that one.
Yeah, I did too. That's why I asked the question.
The other thing is why not,
Sorry.
on the, I think it's 160,000. Why not just identify these areas that are really a major concern and spend the money just cleaning up those areas, and then just look and see a couple of years, like 3 years down the road, see what else needs to be cleaned up as hot spots instead of just, because I'm having a feeling what they're going to do is they're going to add a whole lot of houses because they're going to try to make up if they're going to make it one big system. They're probably going to try to make up for all the overlaps, and they're just going to add more homes. I don't think they're going to take very many homes away. And to me, that's kind of a major concern on the tax issue. And no, I lost my train of thought.
Looked right at Bob, didn't you?
That's okay.
But I remember. So, Candy, you said you live on. Danny, you live on. I know Rick does. Has anybody seen anybody ever out there doing any kind of maintenance? I mean, what about the previous 3 years? Have they cleaned anything up? I mean, is there any way that as a township we can track and see what exactly they're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's kind of some suggestions. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I just hate to see us waste tax money because I'm having a feeling that they want, obviously, the more money, the more houses they have, the more money they have to do what they need to do. I feel like you do, Dana, on that. Why would you have like one house on three systems? Who let that happen? I mean, why should we have to pay for that? Let them pay for that. Let them figure that all out. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we will do board comments. It says 3 minutes per person. We'll start down here with Scott.
I'd like to turn out the lights and just look at the Christmas tree for a few minutes, for my 3 minutes. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Dana?
Yeah, I just wanted to, at the beginning, I didn't say thank you to the village and to the Parks and Recs for the Christmas in the Village, so I did attend that with my one child who wasn't sick. And so thank you for that. And then also, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you. I'll just make a comment on the drains. I haven't, since I've been supervisor, I'm not aware of them doing any maintenance. Now, they do come out, like you said, every 3 years, and they assess the drains. And then they bill the special assessment district for that drain for the assessment for that time. But this is really the first project I'm aware of where they're actually going to be cleaning the drains. And I do get a lot of complaints about the drains not flowing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think cleaning the drains is something that's necessary, and it is going to be costly, unfortunately. Okay, again, Merry Christmas, everyone.
I'd like to answer the question about the counters in our building. There are 2 that are ADA compliant, and there's also, you'll see right by the tree, a counter lifted up over here by the tree. Yes, which is helpful to people with disabilities. And we do have an ADA door on this building after a long, long time. Happy holidays to everybody, and thanks to everybody who helped with the parade. It was a great day.
Just want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, be nice to each other. That's
Chris?
Like we're not.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays, everyone.
All right.
And Happy New Year. Because it will be the new year before we meet again.
All right, thank you. Okay, who would like to make a motion to adjourn tonight?
A motion.
Ooh, I do.
Who would like to second?
I'll let
There
you
you go.
guys do it.
Jump on that one.
Who seconded?
Who did it?
Bob did it. Sure, I'll do that.
I was letting you guys do it.
Paul, did you ask me
All
about
right,
a drain?
that motion was made by trustee Cordella, seconded by Marshall. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Meeting's adjourned.
Did you ask me?